Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
A very good evening, everybody, and welcome to SimRacing International GT3 Masters Season 12. This is the final round at Donington Park. I am replacing Chaz tonight in the comms booth alongside Dara Thacker, who hopefully is there to join me anytime now. Are you there, Dara? Can you hear me okay?
I'm here, can hear perfectly well, James. Looking forward to this. A great place to go for the final round of the season, a little bit closer to home for a lot of us in the series as well. I think this is going to be quite an exciting one tonight.
It is. I think I'm a little bit gutted that I'm not on track driving with these guys myself, but there's a story behind that maybe we'll get time to cover a bit later on. But yeah, I know that I'm looking at the standings at the moment on the live timing, and we've got 38 drivers for the final round of the championship. So we've certainly chose the right track, that's for sure. People tend to love Donington. A little bit tight for the GT3s in places, but certainly I'm sure it's going to produce some absolutely fantastic racing tonight. Not forgetting, of course, that this is the Masters split. So this is where we have only 14x before a drive-through and no fast repairs. So it's I think it's going to test these guys tonight, Dara.
Yeah, it's not the easiest circuit, particularly in these GT3 cars. I think it's a little bit easier to run these or run this circuit, I should say, in some nippier, lower formula cars. So I think it's going to be tough for these guys, and the track limits aren't particularly forgiving around here. There's not a lot of runoff at all. It's a little bit more old school in that regard. So if you go wide, you really could be in a world of trouble.
Yes, they're going to have to watch the off tracks, especially down at the chicane at the end of the straight. That's for sure. So we have started a little bit earlier tonight, Dara. There's two reasons. We've got quite a lot to get through, as usual. But also, we wanted to beat Paul into the Go Live spot tonight on the channel. So I think we started about 2 minutes before Paul. So he would have been sat there thinking, hang on, what are they doing going before me? So, yeah, looking forward to this one. Looking forward to this one indeed. Just having a quick look at the calendar. So, I mean, wow, started all the way back in March at Sebring International, which will actually have its way of returning itself to relevance at some point later on this evening. So, yeah, all the way back in March at Sebring, onto Hockenheim, Spa, Mugello, Fuji International, the Branch Hatch Circuit, Circuit Zolder, Suzuka, Magny-Cours, Road Atlanta, which was absolutely a great race. Magny-Cours and Road Atlanta were absolutely fantastic, to be fair. And then the final round at Donington for the 1 hour race. So it's going to take a little bit of concentration, I think, tonight. We've also got Paul live on the other split, so on the Superstars split on the channel there. So feel free to pop in and have a little look at what Paul's doing. Anybody that is in the chat and watching the stream already, unfortunately, we haven't been able to test the audio volumes of myself, Dara and the iRacing volume that comes from the camera system. So if you do want to let us know if either of us are too loud or too low, or iRacing is too loud or too low, let us know in the chat, and we will do our best to try and fix that as we go along. So moving on to the track, Dara. So Donington Park, is it a track that you know quite well?
I think, yeah, well, I mean, yes, it's one of those tracks here in the UK that I think a lot of us will know quite well. I think many people have been here as well. Kind of in the middle of the country, isn't it? Quite accessible, just along the M1. But it is a circuit that I think drivers have done many a lap around it. Like I said, it's good in those smaller cars, but then you also get it on the iRacing officials for GT3s, but obviously not this week. We're just deciding to do Donington as our season finale, and rightly so. It's a great track to go racing, and I think really just from the aerial camera there, you can kind of see all you need to know about the circuit. It's not overly complicated, but it's not easy. There's a lot of difficult elements to it, particularly those final couple of hairpins to end the lap. It is a circuit that demands a lot, whilst almost, you know, faking out the drivers into thinking it's going to be an easier challenge than it actually is.
Yeah, I was actually watching the British Superbikes at Donington a few weeks ago, and some of the interviews, they were saying that Donington is almost like a three-part circuit. You've got the first sector, which is open and flowing, then you've got the middle sector, which is in between, and then that last sector is stop-start. And some of them were saying that they really struggled to set the bikes up for, you know, the sector 3, and if the sector 3 was right, they had to compromise the rest. So, and also because it's not in the officials for our GT3 drivers tonight, they have not got an official setup to go to. So I was reading in the chat a little bit earlier that some of them were debating whether to use a Brands Hatch style setup, or Monza was mentioned as well, although I'm not quite sure of the relevance of the similarities of Monza. But yeah, it's going to be interesting for these guys tonight to see how they're going to set the car up. Is it going to be about straight line speed, or is it going to be in that kind of in the overtaking zones in the Melbourne hairpin and Goddard? So yeah, this is the I mean, I've missed doing this, Dara. We did the European GT Championships together, and I'm sure we had quite a giggle. We did have quite a giggle, and it was at this point in the evening, whereas it used to be my favourite time of the fortnight, which was where we asked a very well-known Rob Mackay to do us a lap of the circuit to show us around. So I realised that today, while I was just sort of preparing Rob's video that he sent, I realised that a lot of the kind of GT3 viewers won't be familiar with this if they've not seen the European GT Championship, so might think that we're extremely strange. But to give them a little bit of a backstory, so Rob very kindly offered to do us a track guide for some of the circuits, and in typical SRI fashion, we decided to put a little spin on it in our own way. So we've continued it for tonight, just as a special little treat. And Rob is going to take us around a lap of Donington Park circuit. But there is a little bit of a twist with this, Dara. So this was actually apparently, I wasn't there. I wasn't officially invited. It was John Ludbrook that actually organised the test. But there was a bit of a test at Donington, and Rob put his application in to join the test, which everybody was a bit unsure about. So yeah, I don't know whether or not that's leading to Rob kind of looking for an alternative team, but we'll have to check the rumour mill a bit later on. But yeah, so he actually got to go round in Daniel Meller's Porsche, and I think, to be fair, it was an half reasonable lap. So without further ado, Dara, if you want to talk us through the lap, here we go.
Yeah, obviously Rob doing everything he can to make sure he's ready for this evening's race. You can see him across the start-finish line. It's not the widest start-finish line here at Donington, or straight, I should say, but it's all about that entry into turn one. Use a little bit of the pit exit to try and work your way through the opening corner, and then just release the car. You've come through Red Gate, it's flat out through turn 2, and then you've got to just run it and let it flow down the hill through 3, in towards the old hairpin at 4. I think we're going to see a few moves down here this evening. It is an appealing place to make a move, but you can go a little bit wide. Rob there bouncing over the curbs, got to be careful and not to damage somebody else's Porsche. Through 5 and 6 at Starkey's Bridge, and then the Optima McLane's at turn 7. The issue now for Rob, though, is that on this lap he had to try and get through on Andrew Fellows. He's got the hazard lights on, Maybe the police are up ahead, who's too sure? But he's through 7, in towards Coppice at 8. It's a double apex corner. You get through the first part and then try and keep it tight through the second, but it's all about that run now. Down in towards the S's at 9 and 10. Long straight here. There's going to be a few drivers very, very tempted to give it a bit of a go into this chicane, but it is so fast, and those tyre barriers, look at them. They are right there, ready to bite if you take a little bit too much liberty. Rob very nicely through 9 and 10. And all that's left to deal with are the final couple of hairpins. First one at Melbourne, a little bit downhill on the brakes. Very, very tight indeed. You've got to keep it tight all the way through as you run it out to the outside line. Then throw the car towards the right-hand side of the track to get into the final corner at Goddard's. A little bit of a wider hairpin, bit of a saw on the steering wheel there from Rob. Maybe scared of Andrew catching him up again, but there he is crossing the line. Not a bad lap at all, and not a bad way to get him some practice for tonight.
Yeah, lovely lap indeed. And from what I heard from the feedback is that he took a shine to the black and gold of the GPX livery. So I don't know whether there's kind of trouble at the mill in DXT, but I'm sure Danny will correct us a bit later on. So yeah, big thanks to Rob. Also thanks to Daniel Meller that lent Rob the car for the day. And as normal in SRI tradition, because Rob was lent the car and he didn't have to hire it, that did mean that he was willing to donate £10 to a lucky winner. And we did the draw earlier on. We couldn't do it live, unfortunately. But yeah, Rob's going to donate a full £10 to the winner, who was Brett Mackay. So I don't know who Brett is, but I'm sure he must be known to Rob. So yeah, congratulations there, Brett, on winning that £10 off Rob, and I'm sure that you'll be in touch with him to claim your winnings. So yeah, thanks, Rob. And off we go into the more serious stuff, Dara, of the pro drivers standings. So fill us in on how it's gone so far with one round to go.
Yeah, it's really an exciting conclusion to this championship. Oh, it would have been an exciting conclusion to this championship, I would say, because William Humphrey and Marius Hibma, of course, the two drivers who have been the class of the field in this pro standings all season long, taking 6 of the 11 wins between them, or are going to have it. Are going to be right together coming out of the championship. No drop points in this final race. Of course, there's 3 points in it, and it means realistically, whoever finishes ahead is going to be champion. Marius had a difficult week last time, P6 at Road Atlanta, but thankfully he is here tonight. I know that he has this week been revising for some important exams over there, so he has been a little bit busy, maybe not able to practice as much, but it's going to come right down to the wire. Matt Hoyland looks like he's got P3 relatively wrapped up ahead of Lewis Kenyon, unless Kenyon can overturn a 50-point deficit. John Breitenbach, bit of a resurgence in P5. Sam Derbyshire hasn't been here for a while. Danny Phillips, Wesley Van Ren, Max Wheeler, Nathan Astis, they're all quite close together, actually, just inside the top 10. And we'll have to see if Yannis Hulbert can maybe clamber himself towards that top 10 tonight. But it is going to be the main story. It's William Humphrey versus Marius Hibma. Realistically, whoever finishes in front will be champion tonight. Yeah,
I was just looking at that. I was just looking at the points. So there's 10 points difference first and second, isn't there? Between 190 points. So, and looking, as I look down the points tally as well, the differences don't start getting smaller until probably like 11th, maybe 12th, 13th place. So I think 13th place is 22 points and 14th is 18. So Marius and Will have kind of got to be down in that 13th and 14th in class, not overall, in class, which I don't see happening. So yeah, that's going to make it for a fantastic race tonight, because whichever one of those wins on track is going to come away with the Pro Championship. So I did see that they did have a little kind of incident at the last round as well. So maybe all things are not quite as rosy as they once were, and maybe they both want it. So it's going to be awesome to see tonight exactly how they fare, and if they can both keep it clean, should I say? I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to the interclass, Dara.
And it's only between Adam Baker and Nick Stoob in this one. Adam Baker has just kind of been consistent all the way through the season. Nick Stoob scored in one race in the opening 5 rounds, but in the last 5 he hasn't been outside the top 2. That will be the concern for Adam Baker. But as they come into this race with a 56-point difference, it means that all Adam Baker would need, regardless of what Nick Stoob does this evening, would be to finish in a decent position. And as I look, there we go. It means that with a 56-point advantage, if he finishes in the top 8 tonight, Adam Baker will be champion, regardless of what Nick Stube has done. I will say, though, having the timing screen next to me, at the moment, with still a long way to go in qualifying, and we'll cover that when we get through the screens, they are the fastest 2 in the class, and both in the top 6 overall. So they look like they're going to be fighting out in the final race tonight. Tiago Rise has been consistent and done well to get himself in the top 3, and he's looking to hang on to that from Lewis Hammond and Barry Wenman. But of course, the trophies go to the top 5, and John Treen has 2 wins this season, and I think will hope to get himself into that top 5 if he can overturn that 17-point margin to either Barry or to Lewis, who, as I look now, I think are both here tonight. Indeed, they are. So John with a little bit of work to do to try and overturn that deficit. James Hayworth, Chris Jennings, Lawrence Adapper, all look pretty safe, or even Marcel Breitenbach should be safe in the top 10, but Robin Aston may have something to say. And Menno Blom as well. When he's been quick, couple of podiums for him. He's 12th.
So, I've just been informed, thank you to the guys in the chat that are giving us that little bit of feedback. So, first of all, I've just been informed that the microphone is a little bit low. So, thank you, Nathan. If you can let me know if that's improved it, that would be spot on. And also, somebody has let us know, user D5W5J, that William Humphrey does indeed have a drive-through penalty for reaching 10 licence points. So does Lawrence Didapper, but probably slightly less significant, Lawrence, sorry to say, than Williams. So Williams probably going to be taking that early, Dara, and then trying to work his way through the field. So that is going to prove very, very, very interesting tonight. So thanks for making us aware of that. As we now move on to the club standings, the championship that should have been, Dara, but unfortunately I got ejected from.
I mean, you got ejected from it, but I don't think anyone was going to catch Andrew Larkman over the course of this season. He's got 4 wins, 7 podiums in the 9 races that he's been to. Excuse me, and has that 130-point lead over Stuart Rice, which is unassailable, and he will be coming home with the title. And mind you, again, I'm just looking at the time page. Currently, overall, Andrew Larkman is P5 in this club class. He's overall P5, first in the club class. The next driver in the club class overall is 19th. Kind of just puts into perspective how much better he has been than the rest of the field here this season. Stuart Rice with his first win of the season last week, though. He's looking to finish off strong and hold on to that P2 ahead of Rob Mackay in 3rd. Steve Rubino, he's had a great season in 4th with a couple of podiums, notably that win to kick off the season back in the start of April. And then it'll be, realistically, Michael Rhodes versus Pete Paeva and Danny Weir for that final trophy-paying position in P5. And Michael's been on a little bit of a rich vein of form. 3 podiums in his last 5 races that he's attended. He should be looking to hold off Pete Paeva and Danny Weir, who only have, well, no podiums for Pete, sadly, and 2 for Danny over the course of the season. Daniel Mellor, when he's finished, he's done quite well. He's got more DNFs than he has wins, but he's got 3 wins, which is more than second, well, it was as many as the drivers in 2nd, 3rd and 4th combined in these standings. Brian Beardsworth 9th and Andrew Follows in 10th. We'll see what Andy Trell and Scott Cotterick can do to get over that 300-point threshold tonight.
Yeah, the club class has been, I mean, Andrew's just been a league apart, hasn't he? Completely in terms of consistency and pace, and as you say, looking at his times now, he's been flawless. And I think what happens sometimes over these seasons is that drivers put a bit of practice in and they get a bit kind of dedicated, and you see a massive improvement. Of course, the skeptics would always say that they've tanked the iRating before joining, but that's not the case. We do check the iRatings previously, and Andrew's obviously just got his pace together and proved that next season he's definitely going to be a class above, if not 2. So yeah, congratulations to Andrew. He's the champion, of course, so can't be caught by Stuart. So and then Rob had to miss a couple of rounds due to holiday in 3rd place. And as you say, Daniel Mellor, awesome so far when he's finished. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they all shape up tonight. So for team standings, Dara, I just thought I'd take a moment to acknowledge all of the teams in the Teams Championship, all the way down to 36th place. So we're doing the teams standings in a slightly different order. I'll give the glory to Dara in the top 10, of course, but But yeah, this is something that SRI have run, and we are going to continue to run for next season over the 2 splits, where we allow up to 4 drivers in each team, and only the top 2 drivers score points. But looking back, I mean, this is some field, isn't it, Dora, when you consider that, you know, even all the way down to kind of 17th, 18th, not even 20th place of Stuart Rice and Rachel Huff, you know, 731 points. It's a phenomenal teams championship, and the strength of depth, you know, the depths of the strength of field is absolutely incredible, really.
Yeah, and I think it's nice as well because it means that for everybody competing, even if they're not, you know, fighting in their own individual drivers' championship, they can, you know, help the team out in what have been very highly competitive groupings. I mean, you look at P17, 18, and 19 there in the teams championship. There's 4 points between those 3 teams. You look down at 27th, 28th, 29th. There's 4 points between those guys there. So, you know, it's been a really good season, I think, for everybody to get involved. They've all had their own individual battles. They've all been racing other drivers around them, and they know who they are. And I think it really adds to, you know, adds to the series. It adds to the excitement the driver's going to have coming into a race evening.
It certainly does, yeah. And a massive shout out, thanks to everybody that's kind of supported us all the way through this season. Again, with 38 drivers on the final round of the season, it's absolutely incredible. So yeah, moving on to the business end then, Dara. So 6th to 10th.
Yep, it's 10th place for SDR, Milton Tomlinson Dennis and Leon Seeley. They're over in the Superstar split. They're in P10, and there's a bit of a gap up to the DCWR. Then you've got the DXT Cyan team, James Hayworth, Barry Wem and Danny Weir. They're the first team over 1,000 points for the time being, but don't be surprised to see a couple of others join them tonight. But the closeness in this this bottom end of the top 10 is between Axis, Simworks and Darkwing. There's only 19 points in it there. And then you've got Lewis Hammond and John Train, who are in their own personal battle in the Drivers' Championship. Michael Rhodes, who's trying to push on as well. Simon Clifton, Carl Roy, Martin Brandon for Axis, and then, of course, Corey Price and Jordan Jones helping out for Darkwing as well. It's a competitive top 10. They're not even the fast. They've definitely got the most points, which is incredible, and they've got over 1,000. LS Racing are in P5. Adam Baker, Lawrence Napper, and Pete Paeva only a singular point behind the Axis Sim Coach team. So I think there's going to be a lot of hard-fought racing between them, and they'll be looking over each other's shoulder and across the 2 splits to see who's getting the points. DDK are in 3rd, and they're only 10 points behind ETE. So I think Faraz Harper, Elliot Core, and Jared Love, they're going to be keeping an eye on what Adam Smith, Philip Harris, and Jack Giles are doing. Giles, I should say, in this final race. But no one's been able to match Glasstech. 324 points of an advantage is rude, quite frankly, James, I think.
Dominant. You know what they say? While the cat's away, the mice will perform better. So obviously Joe Glass has been out the country for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. So yeah, the guys have obviously, when he gets back, I think he's due back. We have missed him really, by the way. But when he's due back, the guys will be probably asking him to leave them to it next time. But yeah, phenomenal performance for those guys. I'm really interested tonight to see how, you know, 2nd, 3rd and 4th is decided, because the Axis guys mean business, the DDK guys mean business. So yeah, it's all going to be to play for tonight, and of course trophies up to the top 5. So where we've got LS Racing in 5th, there's going to be a lot of teams that are kind of snapping at their heels to try and get that 5th place trophy. So yeah, going to be very, very interesting. And just on the note of the standings, after the race is finished tonight, we are going to make an attempt to do the standings update on the fly live. So yeah, we will be taking a small pause between the end of the race and the driver interviews just to see if we can get that done. We will do our best. So before we get on to the on-track action, just a thank you to the series sponsors. So we've got Kame, More Than Technology, who provided the personalised driver trophies, GP2 Group, 2 new sponsors that are coming back for a brand new series that we'll tell you a little bit about at the end of the broadcast tonight. And we've also would like to thank Motorsport UK's esports division for recommending SRI as a recommended community. It does mean a lot to us. Long may that continue. For those of you that have not seen, we have got the live timing up and running tonight in the link I've already posted in the chat. So if you scroll up, you'll be able to follow the live timing if you want to see where the guys are. So without further ado, Dara, I think it's time for us to have a look at some racing action and see where the guys are.
Yep, 9 minutes left to qualifying. Of course, very long qualifying session for them to all, get themselves ready for the evening. And it is Marius Hibma and William Humphrey, shock horror, who are the two fastest drivers at the moment. Of course, William's going to have that drive-through hanging over his head. It isn't going to be ideal. But those two are at the front. Adam Baker in P3, the fastest of the Inter drivers, and then the fastest of our club drivers, Andrew Lightman's in 5th. I mean, it's crazy, really, how well he has done. You can see Scott Kostrick down there in 19th as the next fastest club driver. So hats off to him. Really impressive job. The number of pro drivers that we have, though, really does mean that it doesn't really matter what happens. It will be whoever finishes ahead between Marius and William for the title. The Interclass is going to be a little bit more exciting because there's a few more drivers, so a few more permutations, and then obviously the club class is already sorted for the title winner. So that's how we sit. 8 minutes left to qualify, though. There's still time to improve, James.
There is. I'm very nervous about increasing this volume. So I've got Rob has decided to step out of the car and tell us that my volume needs to be up a little bit. So, but yeah, we did one broadcast at the start of the EGTC, and I was like the big voice from Chicken Little, and when I watched it back, it was absolutely awful. So I've been incrementally increasing it. So hopefully that might be a little bit better. Yeah, only 9 drivers tonight in the pro class. So a little bit disappointing. I mean, it was a bit disappointing that the Vulcan team decided to withdraw from the championship halfway through, because that's left the Glasstec guys to be pretty dominant, to be fair, in the series. But, these things happen, and sometimes, teams need a rest, and they need to say a change is as good as a rest, don't they, sometimes? So, yeah, shame that they had to withdraw from the series, but we'd love to see them back with us in a future season. I know we've still got Lewis Kenyon out there flying the flag. Just can't see where Lewis is at the moment on the timing tower. Has Lewis set a lap, or why am I missing Lewis Kenyon?
Let me have a look. I'm not entirely sure because he's not on the time page still, is he?
He's not.
No.
Maybe I've misread that. I thought Lewis was with us tonight, but he's clearly not. But anyway, the guys at Vulcan, hope you're all doing well, and we'd love to see you back at some point in the future. Meanwhile, it's left the two titans at the Glasstec team of Marius Hibma and William Humphrey to battle it out to the finish. It's such a shame about that drive-through penalty, I've got to say. I was looking forward to a real kind of strong battle tonight between those guys, but it looks like William's going to have a bit of a recovery drive to do.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can hold on to a little bit of hope going into the race. I think he'll probably, he'll have to take the drive through quite early, won't he? So that won't help him out too much. Ooh, excuse me. But we've got only 6 minutes left to qualify. He'd prefer to start in front of Marius, obviously, but I think P2's, the best he could do with the kind of pace Marius is showing. To have to have a third of a second's worth of an advantage at Donington in a qualifying session is outrageous, particularly when we're in this kind of field. You see some of those gaps, a lot of them in the mid-pack are hundreds and thousandths of a second. You look at John Lubrook, Mark de Vries, Chris Jennings and Samuel Clark, the 4 of them, by 200ths of a second between 13th and 16th. There's 3/10 between Marius Hibma and William Humphrey. That's a huge margin to hold. And to have half a second over Adam Baker, but so half a second between first and third, when to go another half a second further down, you get to Samuel Clark in 16th. It just kind of shows how good he is right now.
Yeah, I think the interclass, again, what we've seen with Andrew Lockman in the club class has been replicated in the interclass. You've got some drivers that have really upped their game throughout the season. I mean, Nick Stubb has been on another level, as John Ludbrook does a nice little spin there for the cameras. Just watch that bumper, John. Yeah, we've not got much of a damage budget left, I'm afraid. But yeah, I think some of the drivers have come on really, really well. Barry Wenman, another driver that's really impressed me this season when I've been watching the streams back. I think at one point, Dara, there was actually 2 Barry Wenmans, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Barry's really impressed me, and I know that he had that really unfortunate disconnect, didn't he? Was that Magny-Cours where he disconnected at the very end of the race?
Yes, it was when he was in a really good position. So, yeah, he'll be looking to try and recover from that from a couple of weeks ago. But I mean, these are the things we can't control, right, James? You know more than most with the technology.
Yeah, well, now we did say that we weren't going to mention that. So, yeah, for those that don't know, we used to have weekly technical issues that that we think we've got solved. But look, these things can happen. So I've certainly got less stressed about it than I used to, as Paul keeps reminding me. It is what it is, and you can't always control everything. So yeah, another driver that kind of a bit of a mention. I know we were just having a bit of a laugh about him there, but yeah, John Ludbrook. John's always had really, really good pace, and I think John was driving in the GTEs as John just decides for the second time this evening. Right, he's definitely not going on camera again. Let's go on to someone else while we talk about John Ludbrook. But yeah, John's got awesome pace, absolutely awesome pace. Just been a bit unfortunate in the GT3s this season, and also in the GTEs, because he was the club class champion of the season 1 of the GTE. And I think John kind of has gained a bit of experience and has got a little bit quicker in the GT3 thanks to driving the GTE. So he'll be definitely one to look out for tonight. Loves this track, always goes well. We've got Mark De Vries as well. So Mark De Vries and his teammate Menno Bloom, long-standing SRI drivers. I think, again, over the recent seasons, these guys have got really, really quick as well. So it's great to see them going well. I mean, they're even ahead of the likes of Chris Jennings, the man, the machine of Chris Jennings, and Max Wheeler in his Mercedes. He's currently in 17th.
Yeah, he's going to feel a little bit disconnected, I think, Max, from the rest of his class. In the pro class, obviously, Danny Phillips is the next car in front of him, and there's 5 pro cars, Inter cars between himself and anybody else in his class. But it's been a case of if you show up, you're going to get a good result in pros the last few weeks. The numbers are slightly smaller there than they are in Inter. So, yes, he's P17 overall, but he is P8 in class. So he's still going to be picking up a decent chunk of points regardless, because there's only 9 pro drivers here tonight. So, I mean, just turning up's going to give the opportunity sometimes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I wonder if Max will. I wonder if he'll give us a full lap round on the quali lap. I was just. I was having a look there just to see if there were any kind of surprises, drivers out of place, and there is a couple actually. We've got Rob Mackay, who got that extra practice session in, kind of jumping in on the GPX Sim Sport practice day. Rob's running down in 35th, which is a massive surprise. I'd say he's 3rd in the championship. So I don't know whether he's sandbagging or had too much dinner or whatever, and then he'll come good in the race. Another driver that's a little bit of a surprise is Steve Rubino down in 31st, because I know that Steve has really, really good pace. You know, quite often stronger pace than the club class would suggest, because he always enjoys running up there with some of the front runners. So yeah, be on the lookout for Steve Rubino. Definitely Rob Mackay working their way through the pack. Another driver that's not exactly where I would have expected him is James Howard. So he's running in 23rd behind Daniel Mellor and Nathan Anstis. So yeah, there's a few drivers out of position there, Dara, that might make the racing a little bit tasty when it gets to that green flag.
Yep, and of course an hour of it coming towards us as well, so that'll be exciting for all of these guys to get their teeth into, but they kind of know who they're racing, what they're racing for, who they're racing against, particularly in terms of what points they will need for their own personal ambitions. Max Wheeler, great lap right at the end of the session, goes up to P9 and right around the rest of the drivers in his class. Shame really, only 3 thousandths behind Mike Barber, but into the top 9. I think he's going to be much happier about that as he ends his session.
Yeah, that's an awesome recovery from Max, and he'll probably really appreciate that we've caught that on stream. So for once, we didn't give the commentator's curse, at least for, or the cameraman curse, I like to call it. So, oh my word, although speaking a bit too soon with Simon Clifton. Yeah, sorry, Simon. Clearly, we'd saved it up for you there. And that's it, Dora. That is all the drivers over the line for this qualifying session. And we are now going to be into that 5-minute warm-up where the drivers just get out on track and see how the car feels.
Yep. And I think it's going to be important to kind of just adjust. Obviously, you go from the qualifying session. It is a long qualifying session. It feels more like a practice session, realistically, that is then setting the grid than, like a one-shot or a 10-minute qualifying session. So I think this is a good reset for the drivers. Maybe put a bit of fuel into the car again. Get yourself back into the frame of mind for the start of the race, because those cars are going to feel much heavier, aren't they?
Yes. Well, it's interesting that you should say that, because while I was watching you and Chaz on the Magny Core broadcast, I think you were both curious as to why so many drivers went out in this warm-up session having just sweated for 45 minutes in a quali session. So my opinion is the reason they do this is because they've just been doing hot laps for 45 minutes on a really light car, and now they need to change and get into the feel of having a full fuel car. So I suspect, although don't quote me on this, I'm only an amateur, but I suspect that they have loaded the car up with their race setting with full fuel, and these couple of laps here now are to just get them kind of in the zone of how that car feels on cold tyres, full fuel. And something else that's going to come into play this afternoon, Dara, for us, or this evening, but it's their afternoon, is that we are running an afternoon race. So track temperatures will be a little bit higher than some of the morning races that have given really, really, really good grip. So I think that kind of halfway through the race, we are going to start seeing some tyre drop off due to the temperatures.
Yeah, and that's going to be important. Drivers are going to want to change those tyres in their one and only pit stops. In the race, I think if you don't change, yeah, you're going to save a couple of seconds, but that pain's really going to come back to haunt you by the end. So you'll want to make sure you get that out of the way and get some fresh boots on the car, and give yourself a better chance at keeping a little bit of grip underneath you in the final stages, because this is a track that you want to have grip at, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. I don't think there'll be many planning on changing until they feel the drop off. So we've got 19 degrees air temperature, ambient temperature, shall we say. But we've got a 33 degree track temperature. So that's probably 10 degrees hotter than we've had in the last few races. So yeah, I don't think they're probably prepared for a tyre stop, because usually changing the tyres, or certainly changing two sides of tyres, would probably cost quite a bit more time. But as they feel the tyres start to drop off, maybe some of them will take that gamble, and maybe they will, I don't know. But we'll try and keep on top of all of that throughout the hours racing as I turn off the weather. So we've got quite a few out. We've got Rob Mackay, Special Noodle Dog, as he is now known. You can see on his windscreen, or Super Noodle Dog, as Chaz was calling him. So giving us a nice flash of the lights there. Did we ever get to the bottom of where Special Noodle Dog came from?
I think we did, but I almost can't remember, and I think I almost didn't want to remember. There was some comment in the chat.
It was me.
About a name.
It was me. That's
was it you?
Yeah, it
right.
was.
That's probably why. I'm blaming you then.
Yeah, it's something to do with a pet nickname that he has that, when translated from Chinese, equates to something similar to special noodle dog. That's all I know. So yeah, but he decided to put it on his windscreen. So, and I quite like it really. So I think, but forever now he's going to be known as the Super Noodle Dog when we do his livery for him next season in the GTEs. That's going to be really, really interesting for him to see. Nathan Anstis is also out on track. So UKSR three-wheeler racing team. So Nathan's got awesome pace when Nathan's put the practice in. And I've got a sneaky feeling he might be a bit of a dark horse for us tonight. I do love that livery as well. The UKSR three-wheeler livery looks really, really smart in those colours. We might have to do a bit of a livery watch a bit later on, because I know that you and Chaz have obviously thrown out your usual sort of which liveries you like competition. But yeah, there's some absolute beauties out there for sure. This is one of my favourites.
Yeah, it's nice, I think, when they go away and, come up with a little bit of a fresh decal over the course of the winter. Ah, there's a good one. You've chosen that on purpose, haven't you? The barbecue breads. John and Marcel. This is gorgeous, isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely stunning.
I do think when John watches this back, though, he does need to work on his team logo a little bit. I think with a livery like that, you can't have a clip art piece of a cheese toasty, can you? It's just not the done thing, is it really?
It's almost like, have you ever watched an episode of The Apprentice where one half of the team spends all the time focusing on one specific element, and then with 5 minutes to go, they're like, oh, we need a logo. And then they've thrown that together. So you've got one beautiful thing.
They get cheese toasty.
And then you've got an AI cheese toasty, yeah.
Right, all the drivers have finished that warm-up, so they are now gridding. So it is time, Dara, it is time to take us to the grid. So here we go. Let's have a look how they line up. I'll let you talk us through it.
Yeah, we've got Marius Hibma and William Humphrey, the two fighting out for the Pro Championship on the front row. But William, of course, as we will remember, has that drive-through penalty that he'll have to serve. Adam Baker, P3, lead driver in the Interclass. Incredible for him to be on row 2. He's ahead of Matt Hoyland. And Andrew Larkman, lead driver in the club class, is P5 overall. I think it's the first time all season we've had the leaders of each class inside of the top 5. Fair play to Andrew, champion already. He will start from 5th. Nick Stube is the other driver fighting with Adam Baker for the title in the Interclass. He'll start in P6. So the Pro class battle is between P1 and P2. And the Interclass battle is between P3 and P6 tonight overall in the grid. John Bratton back ahead of Mike Barber. Max Wheeler and Wesley Van Rijn. 4 Pro drivers inside the top 10. He's ahead of Menno Blum. Danny Phillips just kind of wanting to get through a Menno. Only 3 thousandths behind in qualifying, but will want to get past to try and chase after his own drivers. And that'll help out the likes of Barry Webman, Samuel Clark, John Ludbrook, Mark DeFries, Chris Jennings, and Simon Clifton, who make up rows 7, 8, and 9 as they look to try and chase after Menno Blum for P3. Nathan Anastis will start 21st ahead of Daniel Mellor, James Hayworth, Lewis Hammond, Tiago Reiser, Lawrence Napper, Marcel breaking back a bit of a gaggle of intercars down there inside the top 27 with Stuart Rice, Michael Rhodes, and Hussein Sarika Dessler inside the top 30. Then it's an all club rows 16 to 19. Steve Rubino ahead of Danny Weir. Brian Beardsworth will lead away Andy Chell, Rob Mackay, Rachel Huff, Andrew Fellows, and Pete Paver. 38 cars to the race tonight, James.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant to take us out for the final race of the season. 38 entrants. It must be a new record for SRI's final round. I don't know how many Paul's got in his lobby, but yeah, the 2 Glasstec cars come out the final corner, Dara, and this is going to be really interesting to see how these go.
Yeah, Marius is going to hope to get away really quickly indeed. They are already racing down towards turn 1. An hour on the clock is starting to tick away. Adam Baker, I think, trying to keep himself out of trouble, but Nick Stubner right behind him as they're going towards turn number 1. William Humphrey on the outside line, Hibma on the inside line. It'll favour Hibma through turn 2 and down in towards the old hairpin, but already Humphrey with the advantage, and he leads as they descend the hill for the first time. 3 Glasstec cars, 1, 2, and 3, and that battle for the Inter win in P4 and 5 right together as Larkman fights away with that, and Mike Barber as well.
Yeah, this looks like a fantastic clean lap for these guys getting away. I've got no incidents coming up straight away. It's amazing to see the 3 Glasstec cars just flying in formation at the front of this grid. And Adam Baker just sat in there right behind, and he's got Nick Stubb right behind him. So I don't think Nick will be feeling too pressured at this point. I think he'll definitely want to make it a Glasstec 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, Adam's going to have company in a very short space of time. We've then got Mike Barber. I was told that Mike wasn't going to be racing tonight, so it's good to see Mike out there, and he's running fantastically well in 6th place, just behind, as he has a little look outside of Nick Stube now. Goes to the inside, goes to the outside. But yeah, no incidents to report, Dara, on lap 1.
Yeah, which is always good to see. Quick reminder, of course, that for Adam Baker to take the title, it doesn't matter what Nick Stube does, as long as he finishes inside the top 8. So it's not quite the same situation as the Pro Class. Samuel Clark's going to benefit quite nicely from the likes of Menno Blum coming into a little bit of trouble into the final chicane, or final corner of the opening lap here. John Ludbrook in the back of this as well, looking to try and take advantage if he can in that lovely looking GPX SimSports Onyx car. But unsurprisingly, long trains off the start here, and it's good that we have so many drivers on the final line, as you said, James, to keep everybody close. And we've only really got Pete Paver and Daniel Mellor off the back of the field at the moment. Yeah,
we've had one incident pop up, which is Pete Paver, so we'll come back and we'll spot that later. We've got Danny Phillips all over the back of John Ludbrook here. So this is Danny Phillips, who is in the Pro Class. So he's going to be thinking, come on, John, I want to get past and I want to get up. John's fighting for his own position. He's running really well in P14 there. So I don't imagine John is going to be letting him through anytime soon. We've got Menno Bloom a little bit further up the road. So he's chasing down Samuel Clark in the Mercedes. And then we've got Andrew Locke, so leader in the club class. Andrew has kept position nicely. I think he's just got to bring this one home, Dara, and yeah, he's going to continue his streak and probably one of the highest scoring finishes that we will have seen in recent seasons.
Yeah, I mean, he started in P5, he's already dropped down to P11, but I think part of that is him just wanting to keep himself safe, because his next closest challenger is Danny Weir, and he's in P25, so it's a good place for Andrew to be in for the time being. Fastest lap for Marius Hibma on the back of William Humphrey at the front of the field is Nathan Astis. fights away with Lewis Hammond through the final corner. That could open the door for the Brazilian Thiago Reiser as they cross the line to start lap number 3 here. There was a problem for James Hayworth at some point on that last lap. He's dropped right the way towards the back of the field. Not entirely sure what happened there, but he's now got a lot of work to do to try and recover from that.
Yeah, we've had a crash between Rob Mackay and Andy Chell as well. So we'll come back, and when things have settled down a little bit, we will have a look at these replays as we're on board now with Nathan Anstis, who's all over the back of Lewis Hammond. So it just shows you how close these guys are following each other. Sometimes you're often looking at not only the car in front, but the car in front of them, and also the car in front of them as well. So yeah, Nathan doing a good job. He must have dropped down a few positions there, Dora. I think he qualified a bit higher than that, so there'll be a little bit of a recovery, I think, for Nathan to do there. And he's got Thiago Reiser right behind him for company. And as we know, Thiago Reiser is he's not one for letting people get away. So he'll certainly be snapping at the heels of Nathan, that's for sure.
Yep, and Nathan's going to have a little bit of a problem on his hands when he doesn't really want to, when he should, well, he'll feel like he should be fighting a lot higher up than P22. Hammond's gone down the inside of Didapa. Good move. And Lewis Hammond inside the top 20 now. Yeah, textbook as it comes down in towards that Melbourne hairpin. Defends nicely, does he? Oh, that's a very late move there. Oh, very nice move from Lawrence Didapa in the end. Catches Nathan Anstis. Oh, sorry, Lewis Hammond napping a bit. Oh, and he comes into the pit lane. So I'm not entirely sure what was happening there. Nathan's not entirely pleased, is he?
No, he was. I think Lawrence was. He'd obviously got his heart set on going in for his drive-through penalty on that lap, and yeah, maybe just hugging the inside there, and yeah, just probably braked a little bit later, and that Nathan thought he was taking a position. But anyway, normal service is resumed. So yeah, Lauren Didapa has taken his drive-through penalty, and he is now through. So just having a quick look at Chris Jennings. So Chris Jennings is up one position from where he started. For the Axis Sim Sports, he's in the Mustang. Running P16, I would imagine fairly happy with that. Kept out of trouble, running P16, and the only way is up from here. So he's got 6 drivers ahead of him. So yeah, as we look at the group standings, we can see that Chris is running in P7. So his next target will be John Ludbrook, which is 2 cars ahead. So yeah, John is still managing to keep Danny Phillips behind him. So Chris is going to be hoping that that Danny can make a move on John. It might look like he actually is going to plan a bit of a move. No, he's not. He just waits and he's patient. It's a long old race, isn't it? An hour. I mean, we've only had 6 minutes already, and yeah, there's plenty of time for these guys to make the way back through.
Yeah, loads of time. An hour is a long old stint in these cars, particularly around a track like Donington when the laps are going through quite quickly. Only 1:27 is what we're lapping at the moment. So laps are passing through nicely. Danny Weir, a lot of work to do to try and catch up to Andrew Larkin, but he's kind of racing for pride, not racing for the title tonight. Would love the win, but a P2 would still be a good result of where he's sat at the moment. William Humphrey hasn't taken that drive-through penalty yet. Not too surprised to see that, because you'd think he'd leave it a little bit longer till he can clear a lot of the traffic. He's blinking, that's not going to help.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, that's hopefully that's not Mr. Humphrey playing with the router again. We did have that one time, if you remember, in the European GT Championship, where there was a disconnect. So yeah, Marius and William following each other. I wonder what William's thinking about this drive-through penalty, Dara. I wonder if he's thinking take it later. I don't know kind of why I suppose the only benefit of taking it as late as possible would be that the traffic is then more spread out. Whereas if he does take it early, he's coming back into a quite condensed track. Whereas if he waits a bit later on, then the field will be spread out, and maybe there's less chance of him having an incident when he's working his way back through.
Yeah.
That seems to make a bit of sense to me anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It makes total sense. I mean, he's just trying to avoid any kind of extra slowdown. He's already going to have to take that drive through. Why use it on lap 1 when you're going to get trucked right to the back of the order, when you can just allow the field to naturally spread out a bit, and then pit into a little bit of cleaner air when the gaps are a little bit bigger. Makes total sense from William. But you can tell that Marius can just save a bit behind him, because William is going to have to push to build that gap in the first place. So it's working out quite nicely for Marius for the time being. In that second of the Glass Tech cars, they've pulled away from Matt Hoyland, and I fear for Matt that this could be quite an isolating race tonight.
It could be, but I think Matt kind of knows when we listened to the interview that Matt did. I think Matt knows he's not quite got the pace of the two guys in front of him, but he's very happy to be that kind of wingman for the scoring for the team points. And look, I mean, it's clearly worked, hasn't it? When you look how far the GlassTech team are ahead of every other team, you know, when one driver's had an incident, there's been another driver to pick up exactly the same amount of points for the team. So yeah, we'll get a bit of a look at Matt a bit later on. But like you say, he's dropped off a little bit. 1.3 seconds in 9 minutes is not too bad. And Mike Barber's a further 3.9 seconds behind Matt. Another driver to mention, having a really good run, is John Brayton back here. So logo excluded, but we'll talk to him about that later. But yeah, John's having a really good run here. So he's the driver that stayed in position. So he's still running P7 overall, and he's running P5 in the pro class. So he has got Max Wheeler for company. Max Wheeler's closed up quite quickly, and then you've got Mike Barber just in front of them as well. So we've got Mike Barber, and they're coming up to the back of the battle between Adam Baker and Nick Stubb. So I can't imagine either Adam Baker or Nick Stubb actually giving way easy here, Dora.
No, Nick Stubb's just overtaken Adam Baker actually through turn 6 there to take the lead in the interclass. So they're fighting tooth and nail. They're just not going to wave through the pro drivers. I mean, Adam's definitely not, because he then creates the gap between himself and Nick, and then closes his gap up to Barry Wemman, who is at the back of that train, just off the tail of Wheeler. So they're not going to be giving up that room anytime soon. And it means that Mike Barber is just getting held up more and more, and that gap between Stephen and Hoyland is going to grow and grow, which just gives Matt the extra chance at getting that podium position. There is Mike Barber, P6 overall. Good exit, it seems, out of the final corner on the back of Adam Baker, but Baker's not going to give this one up easy.
Now let's have a look on board with Mike. I was just clicking back there to the overall standings, and Nick Stubb is absolutely going to want the 1, 2, 3, 4. What's going to play against him, or with him, sorry, is that Williams got that drive-through penalty to take. So this is actually for an overall podium for Nick Stubb, because if William drops back down, then he's got to work his way back through. So yeah, I don't think Nick's going to be giving this up, as Mike looks up the inside there of Adam Baker, very, very careful to get the power down. He does, he's still, he's alongside, but John Breakback's having some of this as well. He says, well, if you're coming through, then I'm going to have a look. And here comes Max Wheeler as well. So all of a sudden, poor Adam Baker, one driver comes through, and then the rest of them come through as well. Well, he's got Barry Wemman now not far behind him as well.
Yeah, it shows that the second you get offline, really can be difficult to reclaim the good run that you had. And so he's now going to be at risk from Barry Wemman in behind. Remember, Adam Baker, top 8 will do for him. But I think he'd rather just stay where he is, maybe let Barry through and use the gap behind him to Wesley Van Rent, just to kind of sit and chill in for a little while, with still a very long time left on the clock. We're only a fifth of the way through this race. 48 minutes are still to go. Humphrey is still ahead of Hibma, but he's keeping him honest. Hoyland is now a couple of seconds behind, and then that gap behind Matt has grown to 5 seconds. And I think very quickly, Matt Hoyland has become the most isolated driver inside the top 30 now. There's no one around him. Yeah, he's only a couple of seconds behind Marius Hibma, but he's the only driver with a gap ahead and behind of over 2 seconds. So, yeah, I hope he's not getting too bored out there, because we're not long into the race.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be getting too bored with it. I think that there's some security in having a nice space behind and a nice space in front. So I think he'll probably be all right, given that we're only 13 minutes in. But if he spends the rest of the race on his own, then when with only 13 minutes to go, he might be a little bit fed up and looking for a bit more action then. But I mean, a great drive from Matt. He's had an awesome season, to be fair. You know, playing wingman to the two faster guys. Yeah, absolutely brilliant season. And I think at this rate, it is looking like a GlassTech 1, 2, 3, depending on what Nick Stubb can deliver. I think Mike Barber's probably going to have something to say about that at some point. So that would be a Quatermass fighting for the podium, assuming that William drops down. So let's have a look further downfield, Dara. So we've got Danny Weir, who is currently, if we jump to the grouped standings, so Danny Weir is now currently in the lead of his class. What has happened to Andrew Larkman? We have lost Andrew Larkman, and Danny Weir is now in the lead. My goodness me.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I'm going to have a scroll back through and see. Andrew Larkman has been in the pits. He's not showing that he's had a crash. He's been in the pits. Has Andrew Larkman pitted early, as soon as the pit window opens? And he's going to be running right to the end. Maybe. The
But he's listed as a lap down, isn't he? Behind
yeah.
Andy Chell.
He is, yeah. It's pit lane time. So something's happened there. Maybe a technical difficulty. But yeah, that's a real shame, isn't it, for Andrew to finish his season with what looks to be a technical difficulty. We'll have to see. But anyway, it is what it is. Danny Weir in first place, and then we got Stuart Rice, who's not too far behind. So Stuart has got Hussein in between himself and Danny Weir. So Hussein's a little bit out of position there. The Inter driver. I know that I've raced with Hussein for a long time, and on his day, when he's got the practice in, Hussein is a really, really quick driver. So probably would suggest that he's not had time to do too much practice for this final round. Currently 11th in the interclass. But yeah, I guess Stuart might be thinking that he wishes that Hussein wasn't there, because that would give him a clear run up to Danny Weir. And then we've got Michael Rhodes, who is just behind Stuart, and we've got Scott Kostrick and Steve Rubino. So we've got a train of probably 4 cars there, all what probably will be battling for that final podium position come the end.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? It's going to be an interesting battle between them all. And it's good, I think, a shame for Andrew that he's now kind of out of the picture with whatever has happened to him. However, he's already won the title. So, I mean, all he was racing for tonight was pride. He's not going to be overly fussed, I don't think, dropping points tonight when it doesn't necessarily, when it doesn't at all change his championship outcome. It's nice that we now get this race, and there's 5 cars split by just about 4 seconds, aren't there, at the front of that club class. So an interesting battle there. Of course, we've got the interesting battle in the interclass, and then Humphrey versus Hibma in pro. So, often when we get to the end of the season, we've seen it before, James, haven't we, where titles have already been decided by the time we get to the final race. So to have 3 interesting races on in all 3 classes is fantastic, I think.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see that we've got the championship still to be fought for. As I was just looking there, that looks like it was that Simon Clifton that just took an excursion over the gravel. Yeah, so Simon's running P13 in Inter at the moment, P28 overall. So it looks like he's had a couple of incidents. Rob Mackay's made his way up. He's 9 places improved. So yeah, and it did say that Rob had a crash early on. So he's probably had an incident with Andy Chell, and then working his way back through. We've also got Brian Beardsworth here in the McLaren, looking extremely Top Gun-esque and cool with his sunglasses on there. There's probably not much sun at Donington this afternoon when he's racing. But yeah, Brian's had a bit of an unfortunate season as well. Brian's got really good pace on his day. I think he's found the McLaren a bit of a struggle, and one of the things with this Masters series is that from the beginning of the season, they were all locked into the car that they're racing for the rest of the season. There was no changes allowed. So yeah, I think given his time again, Brian may have chose a different car. He's got James Howarth behind him, who is 13th in the interclass, but he's running down in P28. So yeah, James is not having the best day of it. I know that James has got some really, really quick form and quick pace at certain circuits. So that will probably be due to an incident earlier. And then we've got Andrew Fellows, and we've got Andrew Fellows for DNR Racing, and we've got Marcel Breitenbach, and then we've got Rachel Hugh as well. So running in P9, so Rachel's in the top 10. So, and I suspect there may be a couple more incidents before this race is finished. So yeah, could get up into the top 7, maybe top 6.
Yeah, still a very long way to go in this race, isn't it? 42 minutes on the clock, only 18 have passed, and more than enough time for these moves and these changes to be made throughout the field. Rob Mackay, by the way, setting the fastest lap of the race in that club class. 27 flat, kind of on his own in P6. Could he maybe start to try and rock up to the back of that group of Rice, Rose, Kostrick and Rubino? We'll have to wait and see, but he's on a bit of a march at the moment as well. Oh no, something's happened to Danny Weir. Danny Weir's dropping down the order. Has he gone wide off the road? He has. Was he helped? Was he spun? Was it just a kick of oversteer? We'll have to have a look at a replay, I think.
We will. Let's have a look. This is where we get to check if the replays are working, Dara. As he does, yeah, just a little bit too much gas there and loses the rear end. So really, really unfortunate for Danny, losing the lead of the class. I wonder if that was a little bit of pressure, getting a little bit warm under his collar, feeling that pressure of a class win coming on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was going so well for him. It's unfortunate, I think, that he's now dropped down the order a little bit, but he's still kind of there or thereabouts, P6 and not a million miles away from the group. I think he won't make that mistake again. Problem is he's got Brian Beardsworth right behind him, challenging him for that P6 now, but definitely the best race in all three classes is in that club class now. So, yeah, really intriguing to see how this one's going to play out. There they are, realistically, all are. Stuart Rice at the front in that green and purple car, and then Michael Rose behind in the purple Darkwing car. Almost like it blends perfectly from the front of Stuart Rice car into Michael Rose car as well. Got Scott Kostrick. Words are eluding me today. Scott Kostrick in P3 trying to find his way through, and I think connections eluding Scott Kostrick as well, by the looks of it, James.
It does look like we've got a bit of a blinky evening going on. Yeah, I hope it's I hope it's not our end. I'm hoping that's Scott's at Scott's connection end. Doesn't normally have issues, but we've got a black flag for Nathan Anstis, who's in the pit, so he's the first guy out of the pro class. One little battle I was just keeping an eye on there. One of the closest battles was Chris Jennings. He got onto the back of Samuel Clark for P6 in class, and then he just seems to have dropped off a little bit. It's 0.8 of a second now, so that's closed right back up, and he's got Danny Phillips behind him. So yeah, John Ludbrook has managed to clear these guys. So a P5 for John in class. So I think he will be keeping fingers crossed. Now there is a rumour, Dara, that someone else has actually been driving for John, a certain Nelson Ludbrook. I can't either confirm or deny, but I'm told that Nelson Ludbrook may have raced in John's car at a certain point. So we maybe have to clear that one up on another day. But yeah, nevertheless, this is a really good performance for John, currently in P5, and he's got sight of Menno Bloom as well. So Menno Bloom is not too far away. John will be looking to... Let's have a look what it looks like from John's point of view. Yeah, he can see Menno. Menno's got a car in front of him. He'll be working on closing that gap down now over the next stint. Trying to get as close as he can before the pit stops, and then maybe trying to go a little bit longer in the pit stops, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I think a track where you can go a little bit longer. You're not using too much fuel everywhere here. The final sector is a little bit slower, so it shouldn't be too demanding on the fuel. Samuel Clark missing a key bit of bodywork there on the front. There should be a bumper on that car, and yet it is not there. It's not how it left the factory, that's for sure. Oh, inside line then from Danny Phillips on Chris Jennings. Out of class, of course. Danny Phillips is not going to gain any points from making that position, but he may not even... Oh, I was going to say may not be even be able to hold it, but he's just about ahead as they make their way in towards the final corner this time by. He's going to...
Sorry, go on. I was getting over,
no,
I was getting overexcited.
He's going to try and make the... I was going to say make the move on Samuel Clark, but again, it's not going to make much of a difference, is it? Because it's not in class, so he'll say P8.
Yeah, Chris Jennings was the wise old fox there, wasn't he? He knew that was coming from a mile off, and he just decided to leave a bit of space, let him go, not in class. So yeah, still P7. So I think Chris will now be looking to tag on the back of Danny Phillips there and say, right, draw me back up to Samuel Clark, and then maybe if Danny was to do the same Samuel, Chris might think, there's my chance, and away we go. So we'll try and keep an eye on that one. Another battle that we've got fairly close is here with Diego Reiser, who's only half a second behind Lewis Hammond. So these two are battling for the final position in the top 10. So, and we know we've seen Diego race for multiple seasons. I remember way back in the first season of we did a fixed Ferrari series, and Tiago and Joe Glass had an absolute humdinger of a battle all season. So yeah, he's certainly an aggressive driver and a good competitor to be up against. So Lewis Hammond, come the end of this race, he's certainly going to have his wing mirrors full of Tiago Reiser, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Tiago's doing everything he can to apply the pressure, as is John Brayton back in the Pro Class behind Mike Barber. These two have been running quite close together for quite some time now. Be running towards the pit stop phase. You definitely say we're over halfway through the opening stint. Obviously, with 24 minutes gone, you wouldn't necessarily think that they're going to be able to make it to the 12-minute mark, to the end of the race. Barry Wenman looking to try and get back towards Adam Baker, and there's not a big gap between them. Nick Stoops disappeared, isn't he? It's a huge margin after making that move about 10 minutes ago.
It is, yeah. I was just kind of tracking the smallest gaps, and yeah, Barry seems to have closed this gap. I think a few laps ago it was quite a bit bigger. So Barry will be seeing that pace drop off from Adam and thinking, yeah, fancy me chances here. This is like P2 in class. So I did have a quick word with Barry before the race earlier on today, I think it was, or maybe yesterday. And yeah, he kind of knows he's got the pace. Just had that bit of bad luck here, there, and in a few of the rounds. So yeah, clearly Donington is a track that he's enjoying racing tonight. And I don't know about you, Dora, but I don't think it's going to be too long before Barry is thinking about a move on Adam, or maybe he won't be, or maybe he will just think, I'll sit there and wait for a little while, gauge it for a few laps because Nick Stoob is so far up the road. You know, maybe he'll just sit behind and try to do a bit of fuel saving.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's all about the tactics, isn't it, at this stage of the race? You know, you get the first 15 minutes, which is often quite frantic. Drivers really want to jostle for position and kind of give themselves kind of a sense of where they sit in the order, but nothing really going in the opening, well, after the opening 15 minutes, because then you're into the phase of the race where it's about management, waiting for the pit stop, trying to work out the strategy, and making sure you're in the right spot. And this is where we don't see too many overtakes, because drivers are kind of more focused on their dashes and their dials than they are on the racing around them. And then by the time we get out of the pit stop phase, 50 minutes to go or so, that last 50 minutes can be quite frantic, because drivers know what they have at their disposal to the end of the race. They're not pitting again, and they're just going to try and use everything they can to make the moves and push themselves forward. So we're in that kind of middle phase, but we've seen it every single race this season. It always heats up towards the end.
Yeah, I'm quite scared here. I'm quite scared because we've got Lawrence Dapper, who have served his drive-through penalty, who will have a little bit more pace than Michael Rhodes in front of him. But Michael Rhodes is actually battling with Stuart Rice for the class win. And I know that Michael will want to finish this season with a win. If it's there for the taking, he'll absolutely want to try and take it. The same for Stuart. Stuart's had a good season. To finish off the final round with a win would be absolutely awesome. But he's got Hussein in front of him. I think Lawrence is going to wait for a little while, and then probably you might find there's a bit of a send coming. Hopefully Michael can see on his relative that Lauren is, and there he is, he's in the pits. He must be listening to us. So he's going for the early pit stop, Dara. Michael Rhodes is in. I don't think he'll be taking tyres. So if the car doesn't go up on the jacks, it'll be fuel only. He's coming at exactly halfway through. This is going to give us a quite nice indication on the pit timing. So I've got some 20-second pits for Andy Chell. We've got an 18 for Andrew Lartman, but I'm not sure that's totally relevant. Michael's in there quite a while, so maybe he's taken on a little bit more fuel, made the car a little bit lighter for the start of the race, but he's now going to be working his way through, hoping to get the undercut on this man who's got Lauren Dapper right behind him, trying to make his way past.
Yep, and they run out of coppice on towards this back straight, and he's going to have to be careful. Obviously, he's pitting with about 27 minutes gone, and we'll have about 33 minutes to go afterwards. So it is a little bit of a longer second stint in the end, if we're pitting now. But I think it's not a necessarily bad idea. You've got the positioning off the start. Can I move forward? Lawrence Dunlap, a bit of a send. That's very late on the back of Stuart Rice. Stuart is not going to be overly pleased with that, I don't think. Of course, he's leading his own class, and Lawrence is not in the interclass. He's got a long way down in P11. Around the outside he goes. Defensive line thrown by Stuart Rice. Is that him suggesting he's going to come in this lap? It is.
It is,
And
yes, it
Stuart
is.
will pit this time by only the 1 lap later then.
So nobody wants Lauren de Dapper behind them, is what they're saying. So they're all. I think he's come in. I think that's in response to Michael Rhodes coming in. So I think Stuart has reacted there. He's seen Michael go in the pits behind him, and he's thinking, right, I need to do the same thing because this is for the win. So if we have a look now where Michael Rhodes is as he comes round, he's just coming up towards the final corner now. He's got Pete Piver just behind him in the Ferrari. So as Michael Rhodes is coming out now. Where is Stuart Rice? Let's have a look. Where is Stuart Rice? Stuart Rice is on his way out the pits now. Is Michael Rhodes going to get him? I don't think he is, Dara. No, he's coming out right behind him. So Stuart Rice has managed to save that position by getting in straight after Michael Rhodes, and he's jumped him.
He has. He's in front, and Stuart Rice is now the one who's got a little bit of control over Michael Rhodes, but I say a little bit because Michael Rhodes is right there, and with warmer tyres as well. They would have cooled off down the pit lane, trundling for Stuart Rice. He's got to get them back up to temperature, and maybe Michael can take advantage of that in the next couple of corners, but they are very, very close together, aren't they? With Pete Paeva right behind them, who would be in a net P3 had he have pit. So, interesting little tussle now, but we're about to cross the half race distance mark.
And look who's coming here as well. We've got the race leaders of William Humphrey and Marius Hibma now coming to put a lap on Pete Paeva. Pete Paeva moves out the way very graciously, and which is expected. That's exactly what we'd expect from Pete. He's an absolute gentleman. So as we've got here, we've got Michael Rhodes that's going up the inside of Stuart Rice. So Michael Rhodes gets the position. Stuart's now got 2 Glass Tech Mercedes right behind him, which is William Humphrey and Marius Hibma. So at some point, oh no, he's had a spin. Michael Rhodes had a spin.
That's really going to take him out of contention now, isn't it? It's unfortunate. It means Stuart Rice is going to be breathing a little bit easier. But I don't think he would have wanted that to have happened. Oh, it was wide, just to allow Marius Hibma to come through. Right behind William Humphrey. So they're getting lapped by the leaders. Yes, they've pitted and the leaders have not, but just kind of puts into perspective how quick Humphrey and Hibma have been over the course of the race so far, that we're only half an hour in. And they were only a pit stop away from lapping the club class leaders.
Yeah, that's. I suppose it's because they've not pitted, and those club class drivers have chose to pit early. Maybe that they didn't factor that in actually when they chose to come in early. Maybe they didn't factor in that once you start getting sort of lapped and blue flagged, it can affect your race pace. So yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out, because we've now got Scott Kostrick, Scott Mackay. He doesn't even exist. We've got Scott Kostrick leading the class. And Rob Mackay is now all the way up second, and Danny Weir is back third. But that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out when they all pit. This little battle is still ongoing between John Breitenbach and Mike Barber. So these two guys having an absolute great race. I bet these are going to have a massive smile on the faces. I think I've just seen a BMW spin in the background, which was, as I checked the time in town. We've not had much chance, Dora, to check any incidents tonight, have we? I think it was Rachel Huff, so it looks like she's had a little bit of a spin there, so unfortunate for Rachel. But yeah, John Breitenbach and Mike Barber, I think this one's probably going to go on all the way to the end.
Yep, can't see why not, which is always nice to see. John has been on the back of Mike Barber this entire time, really trying to push the issue and find his way through relatively soon. Barry Webman right behind Adam Baker as well. He's caught up to the back of Adam. Nick's doing all he can to try and claim the title, but it just feels like Adam's going to have enough unless he makes a big mistake. And that's it's the if that we have to keep an eye on, because we've seen a few drivers make little mistakes that compound, and if that happens to Adam Baker, he could be finding himself in a lot of trouble. Chris Jennings ahead of Samuel Clark and Tiago Reiser and Mark de Vries. This is a very nicely tight packed train, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think Samuel Clark is nursing that front bumper. That will get repaired extremely quickly. That will get repaired. I've got Ryan Racing in the chat saying the spinning BMW was Stuart Rice. My goodness me. So that's going to put him back a little bit. That brings Michael Rhodes back into contention as well after his little spin. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Thank you, Ryan, for pointing that out for us. Yeah, this bumper's going to get repaired for Samuel Clark, so you would think after the pit stop, he's got a black flag as well. He's got a drive-through, Dara, so that'll be an incident points drive-through for Samuel Clark that he will need to clear. So that effectively will put him quite a bit way down in the interclass.
Will, and that's not really what he wants at all. But yeah, it's unfortunate for Samuel. He's going to have to serve it at some point, and quite soon as well. So yeah, we'll have to see when he does come down pit lane. There's Scott Kostrick. There he isn't. There he is again. Is he? There he is, just in front of Rob Mackay. Blinking in and out. He leads the way in the club class that has kind of widened a bit, but that is because we're seeing a lot of drivers having different strategies at the moment in that slowest of the three classes that we have. Danny Weir still doing a good job in P3 though. He's looking for at least a podium in this race.
Yeah, Danny's doing a brilliant recovery drive here. It's going to be just a bit tricky for us to work out early doors in terms of where all these guys are going to come back out, you know, against the other drivers who have pitted early. So, yeah, but nevertheless, still a really good recovery. Rob Mackay up to P2 and Scott Kostrick, the jumping in, jumping out, Scott Kostrick. I just hope this is his end and not our end. But yeah, he's currently in the lead. So it looks like he's got a little bit of damage on that front left. So hopefully Scott can nurse that up to the pit stop and then get that repaired. So yeah, the club class is shaping up to be absolutely very, very close. Probably, I would say, within the next 10 minutes, we're going to find out when all these guys have to pit where they're all going to come out and how it's going to play out.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it's that long because we're past half distance now, and you wouldn't necessarily think they can get to the three-quarter distance. So I think we're going to see a flurry of action in the pit lane soon. A lot of those pro and inter drivers will have to make their way down pit lane. 25 to go. It's kind of at this stage in the race when all of a sudden time feels like it just starts to disappear from you. You know, we've had 35 minutes. It's kind of been a measured 35 minutes so far, but that means that we've got more than half the race already finished, and this final 25 could fly through because there's so much still to happen, including those pit stops that everyone is going to have to undertake. William Humphrey still not served that drive-through yet. Of course, at the front of the field, he's half a second ahead of Marius Hibma. I wonder if he's waiting until right at the end to just kind of keep the race somewhat interesting until he really has to pull the pin.
Or he's trying to prove the point, Marius, that if it wasn't for the drive-through, he would have beat him. That might be a possibility as well. But either way, I mean, these two are doing a stunning job out front with a 6.4 second lead. I think we've actually had bigger leads than that, Dara, throughout the rest of the season that these two have managed to pull away. But yeah, I mean, Williams, here he goes, right on cue, must be listening. So he's going to come in and he's going to, oh dear, that was Andrew Fellows missing his pit box there. You can see him reversing back in. So I'm really glad I've caught that on stream, Andrew being a fellow teammate of mine. But yeah, so Williams coming in for his actual pit stop. So this is going to be William taking on fuel. So he is going to have to come in again. We've got John Breitenbach also coming in the pits and Max Wheeler as well. So I'm just looking. John Breitenbach was battling with, if I remember rightly, Mike Barber. Mike Barber, here he is, coming up to the final corner now. I wonder if Mike's had a bit of a... We're going to see. So Mike should be coming back out somewhere close to John Breitenbach. I think Mike was actually ahead previously. Where is John at the moment? I can't catch him on the... It's just coming out now. It looks like John's taken tyres there, Dara, as well. So that may be why he is significantly behind Mike Barber. So Mike hasn't taken tyres. Let me just have a look at the pit time. So 41 seconds for Mike Barber versus, just trying to find it now, John Breitenbach, 49. Yeah, so 8 seconds longer. So that probably equates to, he's probably taken 2 tyres there. So I don't know whether that's going to pay off for John Breitenbach. Who knows? But yeah, that's a slightly longer pit stop. And he's got Max Wheeler in between himself and Mike Barber. So strategy call, we'll have to wait and see. They've come out behind the Special Noodle Dog and Scott Kostrick, who are absolutely going at it for... It's the lead of the club class, but what we don't know is we don't know where Michael Rhodes, Stuart Rice are going to come up to. And we've got also Steve Rubino snuck ahead of those guys. So Steve Rubino is the first club class driver to have pitted.
He is, which is
not.
interesting. Obviously,
It's Danny Weir.
Oh, there you go then. So Danny Weir's in front. He's the one that's kind of in control at the moment of the situation. But I mean, for Steve Rubino, of course, he won the opening race of the season, so it'd be nice for him to have a really positive start and end with 21 minutes still to go. There's Mackay, there's Bidsworth. All three of the front runners now in club have come into the pit lane.
Yeah, so
and that means that everybody will now have stopped.
That's showing us that, they're all in. So where is Danny going to come out? Is he going to retain the net lead from Special Noodle Dog or Scott Kostrick? They're coming out of the pits now. So Rob Mackay has taken Scott Kostrick and Danny Weir is here. So no, he hasn't overtaken them, but he's made up that massive gap that he had from that incident. So I suspect that Danny won't be too disappointed with that. So he's running P3. A real shame for Michael Rhodes and Stuart Rice, because I'd kind of got them down as all being in one big battle. But yeah, these three, there's quite a bit of a gap between them now. So 2.1 seconds Danny is behind Scott, and we've got Rob Mackay looking to try and go out. He's crashed at the beginning of the race, and he's trying to go out in a win with the club class.
Indeed, and who can blame him? He's in a great position, isn't he? Scott Kostrick and Danny Weir are going to be chasing him down towards the end, but Rob Mackay has the advantage after all the pit stops have been completed. And Rob Mackay in a great spot to try and take home the final win of the season. 2/3 of the race have gone. That time really is starting to evaporate now. Barry Wenman out of the pit lane ahead of Adam Baker. So Adam Baker slips back to third now. It's not going to worry him too much. Like I said, a top 8 finish would be enough for him regardless of what happens with Nick Stoop. So he's still getting a championship winning position, but Barry Wenman now up into P2, and maybe he can start to chase after Nick.
Yeah, fingers crossed that Barry doesn't have any technical issues. So, Barry deserves this. So I think a P2, with only Nick Stoop ahead, with the form that Nick's been in, I think Barry will be really, really quite pleased with this. I just noticed there, John Breitenbach has actually gone past Max Wheeler. So I wonder if this is the tyres starting to pay off. Looking at the last lap time, was a 1:27.0 for John Breitenbach, a 1:27.9 for Max Wheeler. So there was a second a lap difference. Mike Barber being the target, of course, he actually went even faster than John Breitenbach. He did a 1:26.7 on the last lap. So 4/10 quicker than John Breitenbach. So he's going to be hoping that gap starts to come down, although it is quite a gap there, 9.6 seconds. I can't see him doing that with only 18 minutes remaining.
No, neither can I. I can't at all. So I think it's a case of holding on here. Marius, though, with the lead. He's in control, isn't he? He's been such a strong driver all season long, as has William, but it feels like at the moment Marius is the one that's going to be able to take home the title. And William, having to serve that drive through, should only drop him to P4, but we'll see if he can challenge back to P3 ahead of maybe Mike Barber, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. There's still a little bit of time to go. Lewis Hammond involved in the battle with Thiago Rises for P7 in class. Lawrence De Dapper as well, behind Hussein Sarakadessis. There's still battles on track.
Now, here's two feisty drivers against each other. These are definitely two drivers I would let through, both of them. Okay, maybe not Hussein, but yeah, this is going to be a good little battle. This is going to be for the final top 10 position inside the interclass. So, as Lauren's looking, he's getting right behind Hussein here. So, yeah, I think let's have a little jump on board with Lauren and see how close he's getting on the back of that GPX Porsche. He's going to get a good exit here, short shifts to get extra traction. Doesn't quite get the exit I think he was hoping for, but now is the time where he's looking for the exit. And it looks like Hussein has got the good exit himself out of there, so it's probably the next position or the next place where he might be able to get a overtake done if he gets a good exit here out of the Fogarty S's. And again, Hussein seems to have that traction covered off, so So maybe that's going to be a battle that's going to go on all the way to the end, and maybe Lauren has to think twice about how he's going to try and get past him.
Yeah, decisions to be made, really. And Lawrence is the one trying to get back inside the top 10. Andy Chell disqualified, I believe. It's rare you see that flag on the timing tower, but he's obviously had too many incident points, and he's going to have to leave the track early. Steve Rubino being challenged around the outside by Michael Rhodes. That was inventive, but the reason that you don't see it very often because he's lost a little bit of time on the exit. So, unfortunate for him. But they are right behind that Vulcan car, just up in front. Not in class, of course. Which is going to be annoying for Steve Rubino because it's just kind of holding him up in a way that he could do with avoiding. They're trying to chase after Brian Beardsworth in P4, but I think Brian's going to be feeling pretty pleased about where he is right now.
Yeah, Brian will be really, really pleased with this because Brian was starting off the back of the club class, so he's obviously had a very safe and sensible race, got his pace together, working his way through up to P4. He's gained 10 positions overall. He's currently running in P23 overall. If we flick to the overall standings, that gives us some kind of idea of the progress. So yeah, 10 positions overall. Good night's racing for Brian. 15 minutes to go. Let's hope that he brings this home. If we go back to the battle between Rob Mackay and Scott Kostrick, it looks like that gap is staying fairly steady. So Brian's teammate Scott, it looks like that gap is staying fairly steady, and Scott is in and out. So yeah, we will have to wait and see as the Special Noodle Dog comes around the final corner. Yeah, that'll be a nice gap for Rob there. I think he should be feeling quite I'm trying to commentate his cursing here. He should be feeling quite comfortable, quite confident. It's Rob's to lose, don't you think, Dara?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is, isn't it? I mean, he's only lost a tenth that time by 15 minutes to go. A minute and a half a lap means we're looking at, well, about 10 laps to go at this point. So he should be feeling quite confident of where he is right now. Lawrence de Dap on the back of his Sarah Tesla. Still no move yet from the Belgian. So they run up towards McLean's at turn number 7. But it isn't a good way to end the season, isn't it? Battles up and down the field, and a race to keep us excited all the way to the checkered flag.
It's been awesome, absolutely awesome. As you know, it's been a long time since we've done a broadcast together. Yeah, I've really enjoyed keeping up, and it's gone so quick as well. I can't believe how quick it's gone. As we've got Max Wheeler closing down on John Breitenbach now. So John Breitenbach got through. So probably wasn't anything to do with the tyres at all. So that was just me talking rubbish. But yeah, probably Max has made a mistake, and he's actually managed to stay with him. So this will be P5 in class and P7 overall. So only Nick Stube from the interclass is in between. So yeah, this will be with 13 minutes left to go, final round of the season. If he manages to close that gap, I think Max might have a go.
Yeah, I think he might. On Jean, who himself had been fighting with Mike Barber, but it's kind of disappeared, that kind of battle, isn't it? So it's now going to be between those two to the checkered flag. It's going to be a really key battle towards the end of this race, and it's the one in Pro that looks like looks most likely to develop, doesn't it? There's a couple others in the club and the interclass that seem ready as well, but a little bit of a mistake there from Max through the chicane. That's not going to help him out too much. Bit of a look at the glass set guys at the front. They've just got a bit on their own all race, haven't they, James? Yeah, they have.
I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to work out when William is going to take this drive through, because he's going to have to take it. He's only done one pit stop at the moment, so they've both had similar pace. And what we're saying, that the drive through will be, what do we think, 25 seconds maybe? So that's
I'd say if that, maybe more like 15, 20 to be honest.
Yeah, so maybe might come back out in front of Mike Barber. So that's what he might be thinking. But if he can continue this pace as much as he can, maybe he can still... Because if we look at the overall standings, I think I might know what's going on here. He might be thinking it can still be a Glass Tech 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, that's a good point. I mean, they've already wrapped up the team's championship, haven't they? So it's not required, but it's always nice to have that kind of bonus come the end of the season, and what a season it's been for them. It'll be difficult for him to clear Nick Stube, who's been an absolute unit in the field tonight. P4 in the interclass is a really good effort, but obviously another glass tech driver. So even if they're not in the
Dominance.
same class, they're doing a really good job, aren't they?
They are, and they've had a lovely new livery for the season as well, which is always nice to look at. So, yeah, shame about the Vulcan boys, but yeah, it would have made for an amazing season end, that's for sure, with the pace that these guys have had. But onwards and upwards, as they say. So yeah, Mike Barber's just sat there in P5. I wonder if Mike's aware. Andy Chell and Mike are usually in Discord chat together, so I'm sure that Andy Chell will be telling Mike that Williams not served his drive-through yet. They will have worked that out, I'm fairly sure. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll try and keep an eye out for when William does his penalty. We'll see where we go from there. Meanwhile, we've got Lawrence De Dapper and Hussein Sarakadesla still 2 tenths between them. So there's no let up, and they have got Rob Mackay coming up behind them, who is trying to keep his pace ahead of Scott Kostrick. So, yeah, if they keep battling between Lauren and Hussein, and there's a bit of light flashing going on there saying, come on, get your foot down, Hussein. Yeah, this could actually end up closing the gap to the leading club.
Yeah, it could, which is always nice to see. And a good place for these guys to be in. As Hussein and Lawrence fired it out. Rob Mackay just in front, being chased down, of course, by Scott Kostrick. It's tricky, isn't it? It's 10 minutes to go in the season. You've got to lay it all out. This is all it comes down to. No more chances after this. You've got to make it work right now. And again, this isn't the easiest circuit to make moves at, but you've got the carrot dangling in front of your face for your Lawrence De Dapper, quite literally, because Zaragoza is right there, but time ebbing away from him. We're into the final 10 minutes of the championship now.
We are, and if you remember, we talked about the teams championship. So Lauren will need these points because Pete's not had a great performance tonight or a great result tonight in the club class. So the LS Racing team will probably need these points that Lauren's going to contribute. So yeah, this could make a big difference in whether or not LS Racing get to maintain. Always, he's just had a little bit of a spin coming out of the Melbourne loop, and Rob Mackay, I think, had to think about that twice. Did he go for the move? Yes, he is going for the move. He's going up the inside, so that's put one car between, and it looks like Hussein's had a bit of a spin there on his own, or was that with Scott Kostrick? Did Scott Kostrick just disappear and Hussein have an incident with him? But that's Rob Mackay past. Yeah, that's Rob Mackay past Pete Ava. Who was the other car that was there at the same time? Oh, it was Hussein, wasn't it? Yeah, and he's obviously had an incident, and that's leaving Rob Mackay now behind Lawrence De Dapper. So, yeah, it's all kicking off in these last 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, getting busy on the track. Everything coming to a head. Samuel Clark now disqualified as well. There's a couple of drivers. You rarely see that. Almost looks Scottish, but at night. The Scottish flag at night, isn't it? The blue's too dark, it becomes black. But yeah, those two have been disqualified, which is unfortunate. Nathan Anstis has had that meeple flag for a while. He's been in the pit lane for time. Obviously, no fast repair to get that sorted quickly. And yeah, a lot to talk about in the final 8 minutes here at Donington Park. Max Wheeler close to the back of John Breitenbach. He's lost that little bit of time. Can he come back? We hope so, because that'd be a nice battle for the end.
Yeah, it looks like John's got his act together, doesn't it? In terms of he's pulled a bit of a gap. I think it's just gone over a second now, is it? Yeah, 1.1 seconds. So yeah, the clip art icon barbecue bread racing of John Breitenbach. He's going to be on to me now for getting ribbing his logo all night. But yeah, it looks like that's fairly secure now. So it's currently P5 in the class, but with William Humphrey still to take that penalty. I'm just trying to do, my maths is really slow, Dory. You're much quicker than me, but you've got 17 seconds plus, it's 25 seconds, yeah. So I think John Breitenbach is going to probably finish in P5 if he holds on to that position. Williams got 7 minutes to go before he needs to take that drive through. Yeah, I think Mike Barber might be safe if he's lucky. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think he will be in P4, but we'll have to see how this one pans out. We're not really going to know until William does come down pit lane. And he's lost a full second to Marius now for the first time pretty much all race. So he'll come in soon. 16 or 17 seconds he has in hand over Mike Barr, but that's a decent margin. I reckon it's going to be really touch and go on the exit, because obviously with no stop, he can just trundle down pit lane, and I really don't think it's much more than that, if at all, that it costs you to take a trip through the pit. So, yeah, interesting. Mike Barber's going to push all out, though, because he must know that that's a possibility.
Yes, well, we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'll try and capture that back and see where William does come back out. Meanwhile, in the interclass, so John Ludbrook is still holding that P5. He's got Menno Bloom in front of him in P4. So P4 for Menno. Really, really good race for the SimRacing Team Lowlands driver. He'll be quite happy with that, I'm fairly sure. We've got Adam Baker, third place. He's doing what he needed to do, Dara, tonight. Nothing. He didn't need to put any extra risk in. And if he brings that third place home, he will be your interclass champion for season 12. Really pleased for Barry Wenman after his mishaps in other championship races in the season. So, you know, Barry's kind of best of the rest behind the machine of Nick Stu. So, yeah, and then Chris Jennings has worked his way back up into P6. So I think earlier on we said, you know, Chris is a very, very experienced sim racer. And here he is, P6, working his way back through. He's up 3 positions since he started. Good clean race for Chris, P6. He's managed to lose Diego Reiser, who is now back in 7th. Again, we've got no yellow on screen, Dara, so all the gaps are over a second. Lewis Hammond, P8, and then Menno Bloom's teammate Mark DeVry in P9, and he has behind him, I'm just looking, who does Mark have behind him? Which is going to be a lap down car of Andrew Locke. So fair play to Andrew. Andrew is still circulating on the track. This is your club class champion and definite promotion for Andrew. So yeah, just less than 5 minutes to go, Dara. It's time for you to do the maths.
Yeah, well, I think Andrew's done more than enough, hasn't he, already? He had the title wrapped up before tonight. In the interclass, that's where the maths was going to be the hardest, because it wasn't the clearest cut, but Adam Baker's doing enough to hold on to the interclass title. Nick Stube will be the vice champion whilst winning the final race, and with William Humphrey now having served that drive-through and being 15 seconds off the back of Marius, it looks like Marius is the one that should be able to pick up the win in the pro class, and with it, by finishing ahead of William, the title as well. And to go with that title for Marius, he should get the team's title, because Glasstech have already wrapped that up, haven't they, James?
They certainly have. They certainly have. So as we flick back to the overall, Joe Glass will be absolutely delighted watching this back, that the Glasstech team, all being well, if everything goes to plan, they are going to finish with a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the overall results. And no doubt will give us a nice formation lap on the way in. So, yeah, I think they've had enough coverage tonight anyway. It's time to talk about someone else. So, Max Wheeler. Where's Max Wheeler doing? He's dropped 2.1 seconds now behind John Breitenbach. So, clearly those tyres that John did put on have kind of done him well. I think it might have been a bit of an unnecessary change if he did take tyres in the stop, which I think he did, because I think we saw him up on the jack. So, we've got John Ludbrook that's closed back in on Menno Bloom. So has Menno Bloom had a bit of an incident? I'm not sure, but that gap has come back down under a second. We've also got Rob Mackay that's under a second on Lawrence Didapper as well, but I can't imagine, with only 3 minutes to go, I can't imagine Rob's going to take too many risks.
No, I don't think he will either. He's just going to try and probably bring this one home for a P5. But Menno Bloom's right there. Why not give it a go? Rob Mackay behind Lawrence Didapper. Not far at all. Less than half a second. But he still leads in that it's got the club class. Ahead of Scott Kostrick. That gap has pulled. So he's done a great job. And there's only going to be a couple of laps to go. Where is Marius Hibma on circuit? Just out of interest. With 2:39 to go. He's coming up towards turn 8 now. So I think he's going to get to the line to start. I think 2 more to go. So everyone behind Marius has 2 more to go when he will cross the line. So I think a couple of drivers just in front of him. So I actually think, in fact, the likes of Rob Mackay and Scott Kostrick really have 3 to go when they cross the line in just a moment. So still, even though there's 2 minutes 13 on the clock, a little bit of time left for them to get this one sorted, as I think Rob's actually passed Lawrence for P18 overall, which is brave when you're leading a class lead. Or
Yeah,
you're leading the class.
you'd want to take that tonight as well, I'm sure. I think everybody would love to take a win in class on the last round of the season. I don't know. That just kind of almost bodes well for the close season, although our close season isn't very long, as we're about to find out a bit later. We've got the new season coming up. So, yeah, brilliant drive from Rob. Shame about that little incident at the beginning. I would say well worthy of a promotion into a different class, wouldn't you, Dara?
I'd agree. I reckon pro.
Yeah,
I don't know about
too.
you, James.
Me too. Let's draw a straw. Yep, pro. There it is. Well done, Rob. But Danny Phillips and Wesley Van Ren's having a little bit of a night. Where have all of a sudden these battles have just appeared from, like they weren't there before? So this is for a battle in class as well, isn't it? So we've got Wesley Van Ren on the inside and Danny Phillips here on the outside as we go back to the group standings. So yeah, this is for P7 in class. So yeah, nice feisty little battle from these two with less than a minute now, as Brian Beardsworth has a slowdown, which is unfortunate. So he'll need to serve that. He's running in P4. Yeah, I think this is the closest battle that we've got apart from John Ludbrook and Menno Bloom. But again, with probably just over one lap to go, I don't think John will be taking too many risks because he'll be too happy with that P5.
Yep, I think he will. But Menno is right there. He's right there for the taking. It's going to be tempting all the same. This is the battle between Mike Barber and William Humphrey. They're not too far behind Marius Hibma, who's about to see the white flag for the final time this season. He's just crossed the line, so he started the final lap. Everyone behind him will be on their final lap. Hoyland there in P2, Humphrey there in P3, and then Nick Stube in P4 trying to hold on from Mike Barber. But 3-4-5 after an hour's worth of racing, coming down to about a second. That's always fun to see. As the timer hits 0, we really are on the last lap of the season, James.
We are, and I think Nick Stube will be absolutely driving the wheels off that Mercedes to try and maintain this 1, 2, 3, 4. And Mike Barber will be thinking, all right, well, I'll try and spoil the party. But yeah, less than a lap to go. Been a cracking race, absolute cracking race. Not too many incidents. I'm sorry to all the people tuning in that we've not had chance to see many of the incidents. Getting refamiliarised with the camera controls and everything sometimes can take its toll a little bit. So yeah, trying to prioritise the racing, and there's been quite a bit of it, Dora.
There has. It's been a great way to end out the season, and it's been a fantastic race here at Donington Park, which is what we expected coming here for a season finale. Marius Hibma has slowed down and allowed Matt Hoyland through. I think that's a tactical move. He knows that he's won the Drivers' Championship by staying ahead of William Humphrey. Matt Hoyland has been there, kind of helping out the team all season long. So Marius can have his glory in the title. I think he's given Matt the glory of the win tonight. Final corner of the season, and it is Matt Hoyland. No team tactics at all there at Glasstech, who wins here at Donington Park in a bit of a slide out of the final corner, weaving across the line for Marius Hibma. The Dane wins the title in the pro class. William Humphrey, P3, he's going to come up just short by not even a handful of points by the end of the season. Nick Stube, what a win for him in the interclass this evening, but sadly for him it won't be enough for the title. Adam Baker, the consistency required him to only score a P8 tonight, and with a P3 in class out of the final corner, Adam Baker's going to be your champion in the interclass. What a season for him, and what a way to round it out, James.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. John Bloodbrook, P11 overall. Danny Phillips, Wesley Van Ren, Chris Jennings coming through. I'm just trying to keep my eye on where the special noodle dog is, and it looks like he's had a little bit of a traffic to navigate his way through, but I think Rob will be really pleased with this. Rob puts a lot of effort into helping admin the league. It's a thankless task at times, so I'm really, really pleased for Rob to get this race win.
Yeah, well deserved from Rob Mackay. As he crosses the line, flashing the lights as well, he'll be pleased, of course, to get a P17 overall, and of course that club class win. Only the top 3 in club class, finishing on the lead lap, I believe, with Kotrick and Danny Weir coming through the final corner. A couple of cars limping home, but it looks a bit Mark the Freeze there, just trying to get himself to the checkered flag. But What a way to end out this season. 3 worthy winners, but not 3 winners that I would have necessarily picked out at the start of the night, James.
No, maybe not the start of the night, but I think maybe start of the season I would have had Nick Stube and Rob Mackay kind of high up on the list. I think that was a very sporting gesture for Marius Hibma there to let Matt Hoyland round out the season with a top step. So, yeah, good night's racing, and wow, hasn't that gone fast?
Yeah, flown through.
It
Crazy.
certainly has. It certainly has. I think we probably need to go to some results, Dara, don't we now?
We probably should, shouldn't we? To round out this season of GT3 action. They come thick and fast at this point, don't they? Great work done by James mainly, but obviously the entirety of the admin team to put on this series. Not just this series, of course. It's only the Thursday night. You've obviously got your Sunday nights. And everything else that goes with it. So much going on Fridays, on Sundays, on Thursdays. It's been a really great season, though, on a Thursday night here in season number 12.
I'm having the Paul Walsh glitch with the results, Dara. So for some reason, for some reason, the results do not want to show. So I'm going to try and fix this. I did have this in while we were doing a little bit of testing earlier on in the week, but I can't remember how I fixed it now. But give me a moment, and I'll try and sort it out.
All right. It's the technology joys that we were talking about, isn't it? Great that they always work. Well, always works when we want it to. But yeah, great season overall. 3 classes. Oh, beautiful. There we go.
It's all right. Use it error. Use it error.
Excuse me. Right. Well, it was Matt Hoyland in the end that won in the pro class. Maybe given to him a little bit by Marius. A good gesture of teamwork. But either way, he's got the points and he's got the win all the same. We'll have the trophy. Marius Hibma P2 and the title for the Dane. And he led home William Humphrey for a class deck 1, 2, 3 in class. And obviously overall it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Mike Barber 4th ahead of John Breitenbach, who was kind of on his own in the end. Max Wheeler, Danny Phillips, Wesley Van Ren, and Nathan Ansis, who didn't really get going in that race with the 9 drivers in the class, James.
He didn't. No, he'd be disappointed that Nathan. We're looking to round out the season with a good finish, but these things happen, and I think Nathan's had a really good season overall. And also, I think it's proved really good for him because on a Sunday, it's like the Thursday has been a really good practice and warm up for the Sunday league. So yeah, fair play. But as we move on to the inter race results.
Yeah, and it was Nick Stube who won convincingly as well in the end, 20 seconds or so ahead of Barry Wemman. Adam Baker, P3, but that was all he needed to get the title. He'll be walking home, or going home, or probably still at home already, being in the sim. Very happy tonight. Menno Blum, P4, just ahead of John Ludbrook. They were close towards the end. Chris Jennings was ahead of Tiago Reiser. Lewis Hammond, Lawrence Sadapa, and Hussein Salcadesta rounded up the top 10. Big gap back then to Mark de Vries, who I think was running out of fuel towards the line. Then it was James Hayworth a lap down. Samuel Clark, 9 laps down. As was Marcel Breitenbach and Salifid, Simon Clifton and John Treen. They didn't really get going tonight, James.
They didn't. No, they didn't. It's a shame, isn't it? I think reflecting on some of the rule changes, I think that the Masters having no fast repair has been probably something that we could have included in the rule set, because we have seen more drivers not finished because the repair times were just too long. So we live and learn as an admin team. We'll get that sorted for the next season coming up. But yeah, over to the club class to round out what's been an absolutely fantastic season of GT3 racing.
It has, and it was Rob Mackay that won in the end in the club class. He'll be delighted ahead of Scott Kostrick and Danny Weir. A lot of these drivers are listed as a lap down, but that's only to the overall race winner rather than the leader in class. Brian Beardsworth, Steve Rubino inside the top 5. Good result for him to round out the season. Michael Rhodes finished in P6 ahead of Stuart Rice, who were both kind of fighting towards the front halfway through that race. Andrew Fellows, Rachel Huff and Pete Paeva round out the top 10. For Andrew Lark, when he was 4 laps down, he's the champion, but he kept plugging away. Andy Schell and Daniel Malesali for them, not getting too far into the race.
So that's it. That's the results for the evening. And yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely red hot sat here in this comms virtual comms booth. So yeah, great night of racing. We are going to now take a 5-minute break before we come back with some driver interviews, and in that time we are going to try to get all the standings updated so that we can share the end of season results, because Paul's also relying on it, he tells me as well. So yeah, we'll be right back in probably 5 minutes, and we will try and do as many driver interviews as we can. So yeah, please bear with us and we'll be back shortly.
And it's lights out and away we go for our season opener. As Sardply gets a good start, but look alongside him and you'll see there Milton Tomlinson Dennis immediately going the attack into the braking zone. One drive into the grass already, that's Mikey Story, but 3 wide, they come into the opening corner. That's a bold move there. William Humphrey makes the place as they make the way through in towards turn number 2. I think the Altitude 3M esports driver here might just be fancying his chances once again as they come into the braking zone now for turn number 1, and as they make the way from right into left, well, Hayden Miller here side by side with him. They'll go all the way through to turn number 3, and Saunders does take the place there. That's for overall position, not for pro position. Saunders is the pro leader, but he goes a bit deep there at 3 to the inside of 4 then, and Miller right now enjoying this. Saunders enjoying it. A little bit of rub and contact between the two of them, but nothing wrong with a bit of bump and grind between the two Ford, for the Ford and the Corvette, the two Americans I should say. And
With those two ego drivers in front of them, they're just, they're realistically in a completely different race. They're just a barrier up towards the likes of Rubino and Wendell. Oh, there's Rubino going off the road, and here comes James Bostock, past 1, past 2. This is a great little move from James.
Oh, and look behind him as well. Hardiak, sorry, up high. He decides to come back down low. But Denny Plurger has really lost a lot of ground here. He's lost 7 places since the start of this race in that green Porsche. But look at this, for the lead, Hammond wants it. He's gone back down the inside. He got off the brakes again to let the car down the inside of Rob Mackay. And you said Rob was going to be clinging on at the front. And now he's clinging on to second. Great move by Lewis Hammond. Really good committed stuff. And look, down the inside, Richard White. He wants a piece of this in the Porsche. He's got James Bostock.
And it's lights out and away we go here as Mirko Bortolotti goes exactly on the green, and as they roar the way down towards turn number 1, Martin Statman side by side with him, but look behind Tim Perry under pressure and Miguel Leon immediately as the Enosis Esports driver tries to put the pressure on. Further back we've got 3, 4 wide, they're all in the crush as they come through the opening bay. Look back for the rear of your second place runner of Statman, and Statman right now for the Gazix Racing team. What he's trying to do here, I think now, is just hold on to second, and if needed, he may have to act as a bit of a buffer and perhaps sacrifice a little bit of his race for the race leader here. Although Bortolotti, to be fair, I think might be holding some pace back, but here comes Lux in the tow, in towards what we roller coaster they come with the Virginian corkscrew. It's left into right very quickly here as they both make the way, and it's 2 wide on entry, but Lux gets ahead. It's up into second now, as it will be Martin Statman falling down to third, but Callum Lux does clear another one, and now only one car is between him and an opportunity of victory here, which is Perry going to make the move, or I'm going to have to make the move for him? Well, there's your answer. Perry's going to go on the inside here of Dean into the braking zone. Edwards gets to watch it from the popcorn seat view. Perry there being 2 wide on exit. Dean's going to try and hang around the outside. Does Edwards think about going up the inside as well? He gets himself ready for it in case there's contact, but there's not. Perry there being fair. Dean tucks back in behind. Lovely move there from Tim Perry. And I think the old Beardsworth will hope they don't get close up in time as Beardsworth's going to look up the inside. He goes all in, and it's from very far back. He gets it stopped, however, and Beardsworth there nails the move, but Tillerson's going to come back at him up the hill. Does he go in on the brakes here? This is bold to do it on the inside. No, he does not. And Brian Beardsworth at the end, he gets it wrong. He goes out wide at turn number 6. Tillerson's going to be 2 wide with him, but 2 wide they're going to turn 7. Tillerson goes for the switchback there. 9 is no way through, and in the end, as they come down towards turn number 8, well, there Tillerson backs off. He lets Hutchinson go around the outside, but is it the right call? And it's lights out and away we go for our season opener as Sardply gets a good start, but look alongside him and you'll see there Milton Tomlinson Dennis immediately go on the attack into the braking zone. One drive into the grass already, that's Mikey Story, but 3 wide they come into the opening corner. That's a bold move there. William Humphrey makes the place as they make the way through in towards turn number 2. I think the L23M esports driver here might just be fancying his chances once again as they come into the braking zone now for turn number 1, and as they make the way from right into left, well, Hayden Miller here side by side with him. They'll go all the way through to turn number 3, and Saunders does take the place there. That's for overall position, not for pro position. Saunders is the pro leader, but he goes a bit deep there at 3 to the inside of 4 then, and Miller right now enjoying this. Saunders enjoying it. A little bit of rub and contact between the two of them, but nothing wrong with a bit of bump and grind between the two Fords, for the Ford and the Corvettes, the two Americans I should say. And
With those two Evo drivers in front of him, because they're realistically in a completely different race, they're just a barrier up towards the likes of Rubino and Wendland. Oh, there's Rubino going off the road, and here comes James Bostock, past 1, past 2. This is a great little move from James.
Oh, and look behind him as well. Hardiek, up high. He decides to come back down low. But Denny Plurger has really lost a lot of ground here. He's lost 7 places since the start of this race in that green Porsche. But look at this, for the lead, Hammond wants it. He's gone back down the inside. He got off the brakes again to let the car down the inside of Rob Mackay. And you said Rob was going to be clinging on at the front. And now he's clinging on to second. Great move by Lewis Hammond. Really good committed stuff. And look, down the inside, Richard White. He wants a piece of this in the Porsche. He's got James Bostock.
And it's lights out and away we go here as Mirko Bortolotti goes exactly on the green, and as they roar the way down towards turn number 1, Martin Statman side by side with him, but look behind, Tim Perry under pressure, Miguel Leon immediately as the Enosis Esports driver tries to put the pressure on. Further back we've got 3, 4 wide, they're all in the crush as they come through the opening bay. Look back for the rear of your second place runner, Statman, and Statman right now for the Gazex Racing team. What he's trying to do here, I think now, is just hold on to second, and if needed, he may have to act as a bit of a buffer and perhaps sacrifice a little bit of his race for the race leader here, although Bortolotti, to be fair, I think might be holding some pace back. But here comes Lux in the tow, in towards what we roller coaster they come with the Virginian corkscrew. It's left into right very quickly here as they both make the way, and it's 2 wide on entry, but Lux gets ahead. It's up into second now, as it will be Martin Statman falling down to 3rd, but Callum Lux does clear another one, and now only 1 car is between him and an opportunity of victory here tonight. Which is Perry going to make the move, or I'm going to have to make the move for him? Well, there's your answer. Perry's going to go on the inside here of Dean into the braking zone. Edwards gets to watch it from the popcorn seat view. Perry there being 2 wide on exit. Dean's going to try and hang around the outside. Does Edwards think about going up the inside as well? He gets himself ready for it in case there's contact, but there's not. Perry there being fair. Dean tucks back in behind. Lovely move there from Tim Perry. And I think meanwhile Beardsworth will hope they don't get close up in time, as Beardsworth's going to look up the inside. He goes all in, and it's from very far back. He gets it stopped, however, and Beardsworth there nails the move, but Tillerson's going to come back at him up the hill. Does he go in on the brakes here? This is bold to do it on the inside. No, he does not. And Brian Beardsworth at the end, he gets it wrong. He goes out wide at turn number 6. Tillerson's going to be 2 wide with him, but 2 wide they're going to turn 7. Tillerson goes on the switch back there. 9 is no way through, and in the end they come down towards turn number 8. Well, there Tillerson backs off. He lets Hutchinson go around the outside, but is it the right call?
I'm back, Dara. I'm back. Are you back?
Hello, I'm here.
You're there. Right. Okay. So hopefully, we should have some stand-ins to go through before we do the driver interviews. So I'll let you take it away with the stand-ins, because in the meantime, I'm going to try and sort out the driver interview parts. So fingers crossed this is going to work. So here should be your pro driver stand-ins for the end of season.
Oh, are we live? Delightful.
We're live. We're live.
Hello, everybody. Here we go then. This is the pro standings for the end of the season. I said it was going to be a handful of points. I was wrong. Slightly more than that. 7 points between Marius Hibma and William Humphrey come the end. But what a season it was between them. P3 in the end for Matt Hoyland, and he gets that win. 3rd, 2nd, 1st in the last 3 rounds of the season. Really is improving in that regard. John Brayton back. Consistency getting into P4. And it will be Lewis Kenyon. He wasn't here tonight, but he will get that final trophy for P5. Danny Phillips moved up to P6 ahead of Sam Derbyshire tonight. and with that P7 finish. And then Max Wheeler moved up as well into P8 to complete his season. Nice to see Wesley Van Ryn and Mike Barber into the top 10 as they end the season with over 300 points as well. So good season all round here, James.
Really good. Yeah, really, really good. Let's move on to the Inters.
Yep, and in the end, it was a really good display and a title-winning performance from Adam Baker tonight. He was able to hold on. He hasn't won at any point this season, which is an incredible stat. But he held off Nick Stube, who's won 5 races. It's slightly crazy, but he held him off by about 36 points in the end. Barry Webber with P2 tonight held on, or actually overtook Tiago Reiser for P3 in the standings. But Tiago, being P4, will still get that little trophy. Lewis Hammond as well, P5. Will get the trophy. John Treen was in the running for it, but a DNF early on means that he was out of the running. Chris Jennings, James Hayworth, Menno Blum just about getting to 400 points in P9 ahead of Lawrence Dapper, who got 2 wins but only finished in 10th overall. John Lundbrook and Marcel Breitenbach 11th and 12th, but again, Adam Baker, great way to end the season for him, and consistency really is key in this championship, isn't it?
It is, and that leaves us with just the club standings to go through, Dara, and I'm almost ready for the interviews in the background, so this has been incredibly stressful. But yeah, take it away, take it away.
Andrew Larkman then winning comfortably. He didn't do particularly well tonight. He had some issues, but he won't care. He won by over 100 points anyway. Stuart Rice, P2. Ahead of race winner tonight, Rob Mackay. 2 wins on the season for him. He finished ahead of Steve Rubino and Michael Rhodes, who held on. Danny Weir tried to get into the top 5 by the end, but wasn't able to do it. 6th, he sadly will be leaving without a trophy. But Pete Baeva, Brian Beardsworth, Scott Kostrick and Daniel Meller inside the top 10, with Andrew Fellows and Andy Chell. The 2 Andys there, just outside the top 10. But Andrew Larkman, 3rd Andy in the top 12, is your champion in the club class.
And the team standings. Now, have the team standings been updated? That is the question.
I don't think so, because that gap's exactly the same as it was.
Is the question. So let's just do that. Is that different?
There you go.
There we go.
That's different.
That is as live as you can get it, Dara.
Glasgow, you champions, so by a hefty margin. That's somewhat 368 points. If I've done that right, I'm very pleased with myself. That was quick. ETE P2, DDK P3 in the end. They held off, or weren't able to catch ETE in fact, for P2. LS Racing, good P4 and Axis, 1,215 points. Only gets you P5. That's crazy. Oh, and then, sorry, as more roll through, I'm fucking screwed. There's Darkwing in P6 ahead of DXT Cyan. Only 6 points in it between those two as they cross the line. DCWR in P8, they moved ahead of Axis Simworks in the end. GPX Simsport Xenon finished P10. I mean, we talked about whether, because there were 8 teams on 1,000 points coming into this race. Well, at least 10 on this one now, James. And then everybody else, I'm sure, filling through. But they're the key positions in the team's championship. And so many points there.
Of course, all subject to stewards' enquiries. We might add that. We might add that in there. All the championship standings are subject to any stewards' inquiries, as Paul always reminds me to say. But yeah, so what a fantastic night of racing, and I think it's finally time for us to get to speak to some of the drivers. So you usually take charge of this, Dara, in terms of who you want to drag in for interview. I have been asked by Marius Hibma if there can be a Glass Tech interview altogether. So I think we've got our club class champion, Andrew Larkman. We've got Danny Weir, we've got Rob McCartney, and then we've got the Glass Tech guys. So yeah, feel free to just let me know which one and we'll take it away.
Well, I reckon we could get the Glass... I can drag them in, of course. I think we can get the Glass Tech boys in. They've won the team's championship. And, of course, we've got a driver's champion from them as well. Is it all right if I drag them in, James?
Absolutely, go for it.
Let's go then. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's all 4 of them here. Glass Tech, absolutely imperious over the course of the season. And here tonight, welcome in, boys. Congratulations on the team's title, first of all. Marius, I'm going to come to you first, because, of course, you are the driver's champion for the pro class. Talk us through it tonight, and talk us through that little moment at the end with Matt.
I mean, at the end, we had planned that, me and Will. That was going to happen. We agreed that, however, whichever order we entered the final lap on, it was going to stay like that between us, but we're going to let Matt go ahead and take the win. But yeah, tonight was was pretty fun actually. I expected it to be a little bit tense in the voice chat. I'm not gonna lie, but it was just very fun. So yeah, really, really enjoyable race tonight.
You know, it was great to see you guys race, and I want to bring in Nick as well. I feel bad for pushing Matt and William to the back because they of course had great evenings, but Nick, of course, you won in the interclass. Talk us through the race because it felt very measured from you, and it almost felt like you were racing in the pro class rather than the interclass tonight.
Well, I felt like that for the last 4 or 5 races. I think I finished in the top 10 every race, last 5 races.
Yes.
So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I felt pretty comfortable, and I've been looking at my times. They're super consistent, and it was just a steady race. Obviously, I was in no man's land, so that helped a bit. But I just couldn't. I could not have done more than I did. So yeah, it's really unlucky, but oh well, he deserved it, I guess.
Yeah, and in the end, you did all that you could, really. I think it's the fact that you just missed that extra round that, in the end, is what's cost you, and sometimes that can't be helped. So it's unfortunate, but a really good display from you over the course of the season. Matt, you've of course won tonight in the class officially, but it's been a great season for you. Obviously, third a couple of weeks ago, second last week, now the win tonight. You must be really pleased on how this has gone for the team.
Oh, 100%. Like, we started the season out, and my outlook from the start was, obviously, I knew Marius and Will were going to be faster because they're obscenely fast. So my role really was just to play second fiddle to that and keep bringing the points if they had a slip up, which, to be fair, they rarely did. So then it just became more about, actually, maybe I might have a shot at third here. So yeah, basically just a case of following those two as close as I could and not doing anything stupid. And for the last probably 5 rounds or so, well, the exception of Suzuka, which was a nightmare, but yeah, just keep them to my own, really. I mean, tonight was probably the most boring race I've had in a long time, but I got a win out of it. I would like to clarify, I didn't ask for that win, and I didn't know what was happening at the time. I thought we were doing like a photo opportunity or something, because I don't know if you could tell at the time I was slowing down. I was like, what are we doing? Like, what, am I supposed to do something here? So obviously, big thanks to Marius and Will for choreographing that. It does feel a little bit of a pity win. However, I am always open to a pity win. So yeah, massive job by the boys, and Nick as well. I feel really bad for Nick. He got extremely unlucky at the start of the season. We were just saying earlier, he literally did one corner in round 1 before he got wiped out, and that in the end is probably what's made the difference for him. So he can be very proud of what he's done regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really good season from all of you. And Will, I'm not going to leave you out. Don't worry. I mean, unfortunate, I guess, for you in the end to lose out on the driver's title, but it's been a really good season for you again. And the battle with Marius has been really fun to watch from the outside. Is it been competitive and fun to be a part of?
Oh, it's been extremely competitive. Not just between me and Marius, but in Glasstech in general. You can see, especially considering 2 years ago up until now, or even just a few months ago, you can see the talent of the drivers getting increasingly better and better and better. And it's really awesome to see it, both in data and on track. And battling with Marius has always been good. We're always quite literally next to each other no matter what happens. We had this running joke where no matter the points, no matter the time, we're always right next to each other. And I kind of came into this race knowing that, sort of accepting the fate of P2, but considering everything that's happened, the fact that I missed round 1 and had that problem in Suzuka, I'm so happy with P2 and just so happy with the team and the progress we've made, again, over the last 2 years and especially in the last few months. I think on a personal level, I can definitely take this away and go, you know what, I can still drive compared to the last couple of seasons. And I can, and on a personal, on a team level, I think we've got something good going here, and I'm just very, very happy. I'm sure Joe Glass, wherever the hell he is in Asia, is very happy.
When he gets round
proud
to
of us.
actually watching.
Yeah, that too. I'd also like to mention that Hoyland put in a very nice message last night, basically saying, don't hit each other, but if you do, make sure I win. So then at that point, me and Marius instantly went to our DMs and went, should we give Hoyland the win? It was brilliantly done, and I think it definitely gives him he's definitely deserved it after all he's done for us this season.
Yeah, I mean, it means that between all of you, I mean, William, you obviously got the P2 in the championship overall. Marius got the win in the championship. Matt got the win tonight, and Nick obviously got the win tonight as well. So I mean, it couldn't really have gone much better for you guys overall. And of course, the team's championship win. I was going to mention Joe quickly. Obviously, he's off gallivanting and has been for months, because obviously, he's collected you all together, and you've almost decided that you'll win everything when he's gone. So, I mean, this goes to all of you. Are you planning to keep winning when he comes back, or was this just a one-time thing?
Hell yeah, we are.
Of course.
Stop it. No, maybe Joe should go more
Fight
Asian
him when he's
trips.
away.
We'll try our best. As a team, we always try our best, no matter what.
But congrats to all of you. Obviously, it's been a wonderful season. And I mean, I'm hoping we're seeing all of you for future seasons. I'm guessing. Am I right? Season 13 coming up.
We're
Take away on that one.
Yeah, I think us four. I'm not sure about Nick. I know myself, Marius, and Will are taking a break next season.
Yeah,
to
me
try
too.
and Oh, so Nick is as well. So there you go. We're doing a Nick of Rosberg. We're gonna go and try some other bits for a little bit. We will be back, but I know myself. I like to change it up a little bit every now and again. So yeah, we'll see where we are towards the end of the year probably, and maybe come back and try and get his title back.
Well, I mean, you've got the title now, and credit to all of you for doing such a good job all season long. Thanks for joining us, all of you, and good luck for next season. And Marius, I bet those exams are going well as well. So thanks to all of you for joining us, and yeah, good luck for the next couple of months.
If I
Cheers,
can,
Tom.
not to
Oh,
interrupt
yes,
you,
you can. No,
I
go ahead.
promised I'd give a shout out to Marius's mum.
Yeah.
Because she's been incredibly supportive of us all season, especially in the chat. She absolutely loads the chat up with messages, and it's highly appreciated. And also, this is incredibly overdue, but throwback to Magello, if you remember that, Dara, when I was holding all the Vulcan cars up, I received a package a week later of around 50 beers from Marius's mum. So huge shout out for that. Thank you for your support. Yeah, that's it. I just needed to get that in before the season was
That's a
over.
really good point.
That's well
That
said.
might actually be Paul's fault, because Paul was commentating that race, and he said on the commentary that Matt Hoyland deserved the beer after pulling up all the boys, and my mum
He
was
did.
like, "Yep, 50.
Yeah.
Let's go."
He deserved that many. He deserved that many this year. This
Oh,
season.
God. Well, I know what I'm going to ask Chaz for come the start of next season. But cheers. Well done, all of you. Well done. And yeah, good luck for the next few months.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
thank you,
Dara.
guys.
Yep,
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys.
See you.
It's great to get a word from everyone at Glassdick, isn't it, James? Been a fantastic season from them all, and it's nice to have them all through as a team.
It's nice that you take the lead on this, Dara. This is something that I could definitely get used to in future series.
I thought I'd give you a bit of a break with the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, that was hectic, wasn't it? 4 in 1. My goodness me, 4 in 1. I didn't know if we were going to start talking over each other, but yeah, I mean, what a team performance! Absolutely brilliant, and yeah, really, really pleased for him. And I know Joe will be pleased. I've been in touch with Joe a few times while he's been on his travels. Joe will be on a split with yourself for next season, so I'm really looking forward to Joe getting back in the booth and losing this stressful job. But yeah, stunning win for the Glassdeck team, both in terms of like Marius's title, but also the team's championship. So yeah, fair play. They deserve a rest, of course, don't they now? So yeah, and the grid is shaping up amazing for next season. So I'm now kind of looking forward to them coming back the season after, and yeah, who knows what battles that'll bring.
Oh, exactly. And it's always exciting, I think, when if it well, when they do take a break, when they come back, because they expect to do so. That'll be fun when they do return. Excuse me, I could knock that one in. Should we get in our club champion?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think
you're
we
the
should
man
have a
in
word.
charge.
Okay, I'll do the dragging if my mouse. There we go. It's being funny, but he's in now. Andrew Larkman. Welcome.
Hello.
If I dragged you in mid-sentence, welcome in.
It's all right.
Congratulations. Disappointing
Yeah.
evening, but I mean, do we really care? Champion in the club class. You must be really pleased.
Thanks. Yeah, I was just mid-sentence telling the guys I'm going to buy a Starlink. I've had 2 disconnects in the last 3 races, unfortunately. So that's just a problem with moving house and not getting to pick it based on internet coverage. But yeah, really happy. It's been a really nice, consistent season. So yeah, until today.
Well, exactly, and I mean, almost through the hard work that you've put in so far this season, it's almost allowed today to be that little bit easier on you, that you didn't have to worry in terms of the points when it came to that. I mean, over the course of the season, you've done so well. Is there any moments, particular highlights that you can think back to that have been really important in this championship campaign?
I think most of it's just trying to keep a level head, focusing on qualifying as high up as possible to have that buffer, and then just trying to take it easy in the race and not get in people's way, which is really difficult to do sometimes. Tonight I decided I would just try and race people once the top pros had kind of cleared out the way. Didn't work out, unfortunately, because of the connection issues. But yeah, I really think it was just consistency and just trying to be careful and not driving every lap like it's a qualifying lap.
Oh, exactly, and I think it's fair to say that moving forward, you're not going to be in the club class much longer with the kind of displays that you put in. Where does this leave you looking forward? I mean, are you joining us for season 13 first of all?
I signed up for season 13. Unfortunately, work's going to take me away for about 5 weeks during it.
Well, that's fair enough.
Possibly, but it always changes. So I'm hoping that I'll be there racing. And yeah, looking forward now to racing some of the people I was letting past for the last season. So that's going to be fun.
Exactly. But I mean, how do you feel like this leaves you looking forward? Where are the positives you're taking into the next few months, wherever you may be, from the incredible displays you put in this season?
Yeah, I think the positives are definitely just planning ahead a little bit, being sensible. The negatives are sometimes getting myself in situations that I shouldn't be, or just screwing up basically, which I mean everyone does. I think it's how you recover from moments like that matters.
Oh, exactly. And you've recovered beautifully whenever anything's gone wrong over the course of the season, which is why you're the champion. Congratulations to you, Andrew. Before we let you go, is there anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to in the broadcast?
Normally to thank my wife, of course, but she doesn't really listen. So my teammates at Axis, they've been really good. And the sponsor, Sim Coach, in particular, Andrew Dawson, I had a couple of sessions with him, and he's absolutely brilliant. So really enjoyed that. And yeah, look forward to sharing the result with them. And I'm hoping we've possibly picked up a trophy in the team championship as well. Just have to see what the final scores are in that. But it's been a great effort by everyone all rounds. Great teams. Some of the team members I've been friends with from my whole life. So it's great. It's a great way of socializing with people and meeting new people like yourselves. So it's great. So thanks to everyone, really.
Absolutely, well said as well. And yeah, I absolutely back you on that. But congratulations on the club title in the end. Good luck for the next few months, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon, Andrew.
Yep, see you next time. Thanks everyone.
Andrew Larkman there. Great to get a word from him. If I can, there we go, dragging out. My mouse is being funny, but yeah, great to get a word from him. And it's been such a consistent season for him, James, isn't it? That he's just been able to kind of cruise in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think some people would be quick to judge maybe and say that he was in the wrong class. But I think when the season started, everybody's iRating was checked. We checked previous pace and performance, and I think Andrew was definitely one of the favourites. But I think the pace that he's actually achieved throughout the season far outstrips probably what he expected, and I'm really, really pleased for him. So even when you've got a runaway winner like this in a championship, it doesn't mean that the classes were wrong. It means that somebody's actually put the time and effort in, and just they've just clicked with the car, with the team, and yeah, really, really pleased for him. And the guys at Axis are all absolutely awesome. So it just shows what being in that sportive team environment can bring. So yeah, fair play to him, and off to pro you go for next season.
Yeah, he won't be in club much longer. He won the title, but he didn't win the race tonight in that club class. That was done by Mr. Rob Mackay, so I think it's only right that we drag him in for a word. Rob, sorry for dragging him in mid-sentence. Welcome in. Congratulations on the win first. We must be buzzing after that.
I am. I really did not expect that. I've had no practice in this car or track all week. I've been focusing on prep for the Majors 24 at the weekend.
Yeah, and fair enough, because it's been a it's a busy time in the iRacing calendar, isn't it? But I mean, talk us through parts of the race. You know, how did you find that middle stage? You were almost trying to gauge where you were in relation to everybody else. It kind of felt like there was a running train for a little while. Did you ever feel confident in the lead?
No, not in the slightest. I got the lead passing Scott in the pits, which I think happened the last time I took the win as well. Zolder, from memory. Either I used less fuel or the Merc fills up quicker, because it was a split second. We were nose to tail on entry to the pit, and I was sat looking at the gauge, screaming for them to fill it as fast as possible. I managed to pull away just before Scott, who was 2 grid spots behind, or pit boxes behind.
But in the end, another really, really good evening's result for you. Looking forward, you know, what are the positives you're going to take maybe into this weekend, maybe into next seasons from a result like this?
Just keeping the same approach of just focusing on driving the car and not trying to overdrive it everywhere. Not worry too much about who's around me, and just focus on keeping the car on track, pointing the right way, and picking up places when other people make mistakes.
Yeah, and did that beautifully tonight, which is why you've come out as the winner. Before we let you go, Rob, after a great result, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to on the stream?
I'll give a shout out to the wife. I've not done it this season whilst I've been in the interviews, and also to my son Brett, who I believe I may owe £10.
I don't know why would you possibly think that, Rob?
Because you made public my
team swap for GTE.
Yes.
Oh mate, you're always a brilliant sport when it comes to doing stuff like that. So thanks anyway. Did you have a little spin at the beginning of the race? Because unfortunately we didn't get a chance to cover many replays of incidents tonight, but I saw it came up saying, "Do you have a bit of a bump with Andy Chell at some point?"
I did, going down into the hairpin. I saw one of the GPX McLarens sending it down the inside from a mile back. I don't know which one it was, but I was distracted and looking at his car rather than what was in front of me for a split second, and tagged the back of Andy.
Oh dear. Well, that explains it then, because I saw it come up, and at the time we said we'd go back and have a little look later, but then we've just not got a chance. We've tried to cover up and down the grid as much as possible. So fair play, congrats on the win, mate. It's great form to take into next season when you're in pro. So good luck with that.
I'll give it a try.
Oh, brilliant, mate, brilliant. Thanks very much, Rob, for all that you do as well. You effortless every single week, put the time and effort in to do the stewarding reports and whatever, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So a massive shout out to you, and a big thanks for all that you do for the league.
It's my pleasure to do it, and thank you to you and the rest of the admin team for everything you do behind the scenes that no one really sees until the nice standings come out.
Wait till you watch it back tonight. When you see your hot lap video, you might not thank me then.
Yeah.
All right, have a good evening, Rob. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Rob Mackay there. Great to get away from him after a race win. And I feel it rude. There's one man waiting. I feel rude if we don't talk to him briefly, James. Danny Weir.
We're not paying Chaz's bill, so we never leave a man behind.
Well, wow.
We were just debating with you.
I kind of wish we could leave him behind, but I would be shocked. So welcome in, Danny.
Hello again.
We speak every day at this point, don't we?
Yeah, it's pretty much constant. You've been untired today, I can see.
Talk us through the race tonight, though, because it was a really interesting one. You had a kind of gaggle of cars towards the front in club. 5 or 6 of you fighting over the halfway distance for the race lead. Talk us through how it was ebbing and flowing and how the strategy panned out for you.
Well, I wasn't expecting much. I'm never a qualifier, as you guys know, so I was in P6, couldn't really get much out of the car. But then after, I don't know, I'm not sure what happened at the start with one column got ahead of the other, but I ended up in somehow P2 after like the first couple of corners. I'm like, okay, this is strange. Just keep going. And then I didn't even notice that Andrew had an incident and I was then leading the race because he was so high up. I was just chasing shadows. But yeah, and then obviously you saw my spin. That wasn't pressure, by the way. The guys made me laugh. Made me laugh in chat, and then I'd literally just lost composure and spun it. And then yeah, just watch these guys and ahead, all these 6 gaggles of cars, and I couldn't really gain because obviously they're in like a lovely tow from each other. I'm pushing as hard as I can, and I can't get anywhere near. So it was frustrating to say the least, but it wasn't too bad. Once we got the pits over and done with, and I realised that again something had happened behind me or in front of me even, and I was in P3. I was like, oh okay, so I got some room to make here. But yeah, after that it was just managing, trying to catch up to Scott and manage the X's, and not getting too many off tracks. And then noticing that my fuel was low, so I had to really slow down. But yeah, it was a very up and down race. Nothing went to plan really. But overall, quite happy with a P3 considering I could have been a lot worse, to be honest.
Well, exactly. And in the end, a decent result in the championship for you as well. What are the positives you're taking through to next season after all 10 rounds here in season 12?
Positives is it's hard really. So I've had a really mixed season. I think I've had a couple of DNFs. I had a disqualification with the point system, and so really it's just trying to keep myself calm and just take every race as it comes. Like I said, today was a surprising good result for me. So it just shows anything could happen in these races. But as long as I can keep myself clean and keep the X's down, that's probably the main thing. I said this season has been a massive challenge with the no what's the word I'm looking for? No fast repairs and the lower X's. Obviously, you are completely down to you driving and keeping it clean. So yeah, it just shows we can do it if we do try. I understand it's not happening again next season, which is a bit of a shame. So I did enjoy that aspect of it, but if I can just carry on that same momentum and just same mindset of keeping the X's low and there's no fast repairs, so keep that in my head, and hopefully I'd have a good season next one.
Yeah, I think well said there. And yeah, we wish you all the best going forward in towards next season. Before we do let you go though and have a little bit of a break, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to on the screen?
Okay, massive shout out to James. Obviously, like I said, this league's getting bigger and bigger, and it's nice to be part of it for so long, and I can just see it growing. So thank you, James, for continuing to host us and put up with us.
Welcome, mate. Anytime. I can't wait for this to finish tonight. I'm not doing broadcasting again.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I watched it back. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, firstly, thank you for the commentary as well. Dara throughout the season, Chaz when he's bothered to show up. But yeah, just in general, like it's just a great place to be. A good group of people, and a massive shout out to obviously the DXD boys. Yeah, obviously we're a good group of lads, and well done for Barry for getting P3 in the standings. That was really good for him. So hopefully next season we can regroup and re-challenge for that team championship again.
Yeah, well said, Danny. And congratulations again on finishing another fantastic season. Good luck for the next couple of months, and we'll probably speak to you soon.
Yeah, definitely. I'll see you in Cleo.
Well, yeah, you will.
Bit of it.
Danny Weir, good to get a word from him. I do see him more. Oh, if I can't even drag him out, he's still here. Is this? There we go. I see him more than most of my family at this point, James. So good to get a word from him again. And that wraps up a great season, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Almost. Because we're not actually finished the season yet, because we've got an event coming up next week. Which
of course.
We've not really told anybody much about it. So I think now is probably the appropriate time to reveal the what we're going to be doing next week. So as you know, we had Masters and Superstars as two different splits with the same classes in each split. So next week, Paul Walsh, the genius that is Paul behind the cameras, that doesn't get half as flustered as I have, he will be hosting with him in the comms booth a showdown event, which will now be available on screen, should be, that you can see. So we are going to pitch the Masters split versus the Superstars split. So this is an end of season freebie kind of race. There are going to be some prizes on offer, and we are going to, Paul decided, mainly Paul with a little bit of guidance from myself, on Sebring, because we thought it was quite fitting that where the season started out at the beginning, we would go full circle where we did pre-season and end back at Sebring for the Thursday Showdown event. So it's going to be something a little bit different for us. So it's going to be the Masters Pro versus the Superstars Pro. So all the pro drivers in one race. It's going to be the interclass of Masters versus the interclass of Superstars in one race. And then the club class versus the club class, Masters versus Superstars. So we're going to see equal pace drivers come together. We're going to have a practice session followed by a 20-minute open qualifying. And then there are going to be 3 40-minute sprint races. And we're going to coordinate those so that we can jump out of the first race, which is going to be the club class, if I remember correctly. And then we're going to jump into the interclass race and we're going to finish on the pro class. All points will be scored for the top 20 drivers, and the team's total, if you like, at the end of it will be the Masters team versus the Superstars team. So hopefully we can get a few people into the stream supporting their fellow teammates. So all season they've been competitors, and all of a sudden they're going to be teammates. We'll be starting about 7:10, something like that, with the first race at 7:30. So hopefully we're going to get a good turnout of people. See some nice close racing. There'll be no pit stops. It'll be a straight shootout sprint to the finish, and I'm sure that we'll have a lot of fun on the way. So yeah, looking forward to that one, Dara.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be good. It's going to be a nice chance, I think, for kind of the mix of the two series that haven't mixed all season long to kind of come together and round out the season on a high.
Hopefully so. So that'll be this time next week on the channel with Paul broadcasting and myself just helping out a little bit for him, so he gets a little bit of a breather, because sometimes Paul doesn't stop for a breather. So yeah, just to round out, we've got a couple of bits of information before we sign off, if that's okay with you, Dara.
Cool.
Just having a look at next season. So sign-ups have opened for the season 13 Thursday GT3 Championship. We're not continuing this season, or sorry, next season. We're not continuing with Masters and Superstars. So we are reverting back to the A split and B split, which will see probably drivers over somewhere around 2,000-ish, above 2,000 I rating in the A split, and below 2,000 I rating in the B split. So there'll be 4 classes of Elite, Pro, Premier and Club. We're going to have Joe Glass and Dara Thacker on the A split broadcasts, and we're going to have the super energetic Paul Walsh going solo on the B split broadcast. So we're really looking forward to that one. We're going to move back to the acrylic personalized driver trophies for a season, because we have some of those already ready to go, shall we say. So yeah, that'll be kicking off. Sign-ups are now open, and we will have a pre-season round followed by the usual 10 rounds of racing. That will include 1 night race, and I think 2, if I remember rightly, 2 or 3 90-minute sort of with a more focus on the endurance side. We did open 3 different championships at the same time, so it makes sense to also share these with you as well. Starting on Friday the 24th of July will be the season 3 of the GTE Championship. This is going to now run on every other Friday evening. So we have been running this every Friday, and we've had a bit of feedback from drivers that every week sometimes can be a bit intense when you're trying to balance, a competitive season with, normal kind of working life and social commitments. So we've opted for every second week, which will take us all the way through till the end of the year. So that'll be Paul Walsh and Jack Barker that's running that series. There you can see the race calendar. We have changed all rounds to be 90 minutes, except for 3 2-hour race rounds, which again will be much more endurance focused. We're not following the officials this time. The admin team of Paul and Jack have come up with the track list themselves, where they feel will kind of accommodate 50 to 60 GTE cars. So really excited about that one. I think we've got 50 places taken already, which is just phenomenal. So yeah, I think we've got 10 seats left. And speaking from experience, if anybody who's a big GT3 fan has not tried the GTE, then my advice is absolutely give it a go. They are amazing cars, no ABS, and yeah, they're such fun to drive, and it's been a really great couple of seasons so far. So we've got that one coming up as well. We also have the third and almost final series is the Sunday Showdown, which is the Sunday GT3 League, which will be kicking off on 28th of June. I don't know if that's the pre-season or the first round. I don't remember exactly. But the Sunday Showdown will be a same calendar as the Thursday GT3 League. The difference being is that we have a slightly different format in that the first 7 rounds of racing are regular race rounds where 1 round can be dropped, and the final 3 rounds are worth 1.5 the normal championship points, and those rounds can't be dropped. So we're just in the middle of the showdown for the first time, and we've had some excellent driver feedback, really good attendance on the Sundays. So yeah, look out for that one. I think again, I think 50 seats have been taken. We've only got 10 seats remaining available. So if you're interested in GT3 racing on a Sunday, then jump into the SRI Discord and have a look at that one. And then finally, a brand new championship that we've just launched in conjunction with Trophy.ai. So this is going to be the Transatlantic Trophy, which is going to be running every second Wednesday. We're working with Motorsport UK, and this is going to be one of our first championships which will carry the approved championship status. This is something a little bit different. It's going to be a bit more like we had the European GT Championship, where we have a GT3 and a GT4 class. But the difference here with this one is that everybody's going to be in equal machinery. So we're going to have a whole grid or class, sorry, of 30 GT3 McLarens, and we're going to have then their teammates will be in the 30 GT4 McLarens. We're going to run the season over 2 different halves, shall we say. The first half of the season is going to be all in the American circuits, and these are the real circuits that the McLaren Trophy real life championship is run over, which is Indianapolis, Miami, Sonoma, Road Atlanta and Road America. And then the second half of the season will make up the European round, which will be Monza, Spa, Misano, Barcelona and Portimao. That's going to be every second Wednesday. So we're really looking forward to that one. Something very different. There's going to be some new trophies available for the class winners. There's going to be some prizes that have been kindly donated by the series sponsors, which are Trophy.ai and also SimCoach. So SimCoach have come back on board with us, and one twist of the championship is that we're not going to be running in standard McLarens. So the McLaren setups that SimCoach will be providing us will have an extra 10% power boost in the setup using the iRacing BOP, and they will also have a 50 kilogram weight reduction. So these will kind of replicate real race performance McLarens, non-standard, and for every round SimCoach will be providing us with a setup that provides close racing. So equal machinery, equal setup, and yeah, it really is going to be the driver that makes the difference, Dara. So I mean, with that in mind, we've got quite a lot to look forward to coming up.
Yeah, so much to look forward to, all laid out there, and it's great that there's so much going on, and it's credit to you and the rest of the admin team that all of this is happening in the coming weeks and months. So it's really an exciting time in the series, I think.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Well, I think that's about all we've got time for this evening. I'd just like to give a couple of shout outs to a few people. Rob Mackay, I've mentioned earlier, Nathan Anstis, Paul Walsh for definite, Joe Glass when he comes back, yourself, Dara, Chaz, everybody that's contributed to what they've put into SimRacing International. It's an effort. Not forgetting the stewards, of course. So we've got Janitor Har, we've got all the other stewards that work week in, week out, volunteer their time to measure the incidents against an approved rule book, shall we say. So a massive shout out, thank you to, there's no kind of, everybody does their bit at SimRacing International and everybody's welcome. And I think it's testament to, the comments that like Danny Weir's made tonight, that it is a community, it's a group of people that enjoy to race together, and we do have our differences, we have our ups and downs and on-track arguments, but at the end of the day, we all come back and we kind of enjoy the camaraderie and the teamwork that it brings. So yeah, long may it continue. We've got a few more changes coming up for mid next season, which we'll announce as and when. But yeah, thanks to you, Dora. Thank you for joining tonight. I'm so glad your car didn't break down on the way home from work, because that would have left us in a real pickle. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing you back with Joe next season for the A split. So yeah, lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it breaks down on the way into work tomorrow, so I don't have to go. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Joe coming back, getting into season 13. I think it's going to be really quite an exciting season. There's a lot to look forward to, as you've mentioned, and yeah, it's been a great way to end out the season tonight.
It certainly has. So with that in mind, we will sign off. Thank you to everybody that's joined us in the chat. If you have enjoyed the broadcast, if you leave a like or subscribe to the channel, that would be massively appreciated. The image that you can see on screen now is the wonderful, never forgotten Ryan Ottens. So shout out to Ryan, as always. Missed a lot. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we will be back next week with some crazy action in the Thursday showdown. And yeah, I think Paul could probably get his hair off next week. So yeah, thanks for everybody joining us, and we will be back next week.